On tonight's agenda, it was amended to postpone items A1 and 2 and add items B8 and 9. Also, please note, under agenda bill briefings, we're going to move items B4 and B5 to immediately after item B1. All right. For the remaining items, you can just follow along as we do it. It's okay. For the remaining items, the content of the agenda bills is subject to change. No public comments will be taken and no action is anticipated. Any of the items approved for action by council tonight will be placed on the October 15th, 2025 City Council meeting agenda or otherwise determined. Tonight, Vice President Revelowski and Councilmember Goodnow will not be attending. Finally, an ongoing reminder that questions or comments by the public may be submitted on any item at any time by email to city.council@bremertonwa.gov. And Zoom recordings of study sessions will also be available online within a few days following the meeting. First item up, I'd like to welcome our fire chief, Mr. Pat Pagani, here to present item B1, which is the approval of accepting FEMA grant for an assistance to firefighter grant, AFG. Chief Pagani.
Good evening, council. Thank you for having me. Just that, yes, we applied actually in 2024 for this grant. You guys approved us to put in for, and the federal government, as fast as they're moving, got to it in 2025. So they did approve us for this grant. It will allow us to purchase 4 Furno power stair chairs. So we'll make our lives easier moving patients around. They'll actually go up and down stairs and compete with battery power, and we'll save some backs. So the total for the grant is $52,015.69. We have a 10% match on that of $5,201.57, which will just come out of our current operating budget.
And it did come through public safety.
Okay.
That last meeting.
What's your public safety? Any questions or concerns? Jeff?
Any other conditions not listed for accepting the federal funds or requirements?
No, this was applied for before this grant was applied for before they made all their changes.
Okay.
And we're in compliance with everything.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How do we treat it?
Consent. Love it.
All right.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Nice work.
Mm-hmm. Safe home.
Oh, no. I'm here.
Okay.
Oh.
So as I mentioned, items B4 and B5 are going to be next. I'd like to welcome our tax and license specialist, Miss Tara Burgess. Yeah, you've been here before. You're here to do the PowerPoint. I'm support. There you go. All right, Tara, you have the floor. The first one is the ordinance to amend the revenue threshold for requiring a business license for out-of-city businesses and create a no-fee license for businesses under the minimum threshold. Go ahead, please.
So originally in 2018, the AWC created a ruling that all businesses with a threshold under $2,000 would not be required to obtain a business license. This year, they have decided to up that minimum threshold to $4,000. There will be a change that will occur every few years based on rates and things that are adjusted. The update would make a one-time increase from the current $2,000 threshold to a higher threshold of $4,000 for those out-of-city businesses effective January 1st, 2026. So basically, the purpose of this is we are here to inform and seek support in adopting the updated business license model threshold, which of course goes into effect January 1st. It's going to ensure compliance with SB 5814 and the revised model business license threshold. This is going to maintain the alignment with Washington State DOR and AWC guidelines. The major changes is, of course, the threshold change must be in place by January 1st. And then the changes that will follow that. It's an automatic CPIU adjustment every 4 years with a maximum of 5% per year, 20% over a 4-year period. No increase will occur during years of negative inflation, and it'll be rounded to the nearest $100. So with the licensing, because of this threshold change, what we used to do is if your threshold was $2,000 or less annually, we did not require you to obtain a business license. We found that that caused some complications for some of our contractors or businesses that were coming in without a confirmed revenue that they could estimate for the year. What Department of Revenue would do was automatically terminate any license if they didn't have a threshold of 2,000 or more. The customer then had to go through a whole roundabout to get the license reestablished, renewed, or applied. So they have given us two options. We can, again, fully exempt, no license required for any businesses whose threshold will be the 4,000 or less. Their suggestion and our recommendation is to go with option number 2. It's called a registration only license. What this means is that all businesses are going to be required to have a business license, but if their estimated annual revs will be the 4,000 or less, it's called a registration only. There is no fee. It's just simply to register the business. With that, the nice thing is that it will automatically require them to do a paid for license if at the end of the year their revenue grosses beyond the minimum threshold. Why we recommend this option is it's going to give us the visibility into all businesses operating within the city. So we don't have that currently. It's going to prevent this automatic license closure or termination from the BLS, and it's going to support our businesses' continuity, better tracking, and future growth planning for those guys.
Plus, if we don't do this, we lose our local licensing authority.
Yeah.
There's that. There's
Basically,
Choose one or the other.
this is the state telling us what we have to do. We have to adopt the model ordinance, the threshold, but we do have the option as far as the licensing goes. They have recommended, and we also follow it to see the benefits of it as having everybody licensed. The registration only saves those businesses that are smaller from having to pay the annual fee. And as long as they never max out, they'll still be a registration only.
And so this is registered through DOR.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, it's all done through DOR and then passed to us to process.
Is it, sorry,
Go ahead.
I'm just, I didn't even ask for
Go ahead,
recognition.
yeah, Jennifer, then.
Yeah.
And so this is like the endorsement, right?
Yep,
Okay,
this is
so
exactly
like-
what it is.
And so when you're talking about, so just when they're talking about out of, I mean, I don't know if y'all know exactly what we're talking about, but like little businesses, like maybe a little artisan.
Bakery.
Well, no, bakeries make a lot more than that. I'm way over the threshold.
Good.
But like artisans, like little makers, like hobbyists that have
Gotcha.
a business and they need a business license to be part of, you know,
And
a
it could
festival
be-
or a
Even for
Mark.
contractors. So a
Yeah.
contractor who might be doing business in the city wants to have their endorsement so they're ready to go.
but only, yeah, and just in case,
Yeah.
you know, and so then how they calculate it is that they have the revenue that's by quarterly or their monthlies, depending on their business structure. And that's how you would find out if they maxed out at the end of the year. It's by the Department of Revenue. Okay, got it.
I have are you done?
I'm done. On
Um,
to you.
I just have a question from that small business perspective. Are there any aspects of having a license that they would miss out on? You know, any benefits that they would miss out on by having, what did you call it?
The registration only.
Yes,
Nope.
yes.
So either way they
Okay,
go,
so
they don't
either
really miss
way.
anything. The only thing we lose out on the city side is the ability to see everything.
Yeah,
So we don't know that there's these small businesses that are operating. We don't know where they're at or what they're doing. We don't know what type of gross revenue they do. And let's say that the small shop does gross $10,000.
Mhm.
They aren't reporting any of that to us and we have no idea.
right.
This will give us the ability when they go to DOR and they go to renew, it asks, what was your estimated or earned revenue for the last 12 months? And if they put in 6,000, 10,000, it automatically goes as a registration only. You're going to now be bumped to this paid for license, the Bremerton endorsement.
It's almost a service for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Very good. Was this discussed in finance?
Well, we had a discussion on this, I feel like a couple months ago, because I remember coming back from the AWC conference where this was recommended. So I know I don't think it came through finance. Committee, did it?
We did present it at the finance committee.
Okay.
So you guys were there.
As well, okay.
So this is the BNO registration that you're gonna discover from the previous year, or is it the quarterlies from DOR reporting?
So it's all started at DOR. So any business that's going in to apply for a license or renew a license.
That part I get, but when you're talking about the reporting, the financial reporting.
That's done at DOR level. So again, when
Okay.
they go, so let's
So
say
it's not the
your
B&O
business is
reporting.
at your renewal and you're at DOR's website through your SAW account. When you go to renew, they have a portion right now that says, what is your estimated annual revenue or what was your last 12-month revenue?
Okay,
If the customer right now, so I have a couple of contractors that put in that they didn't have jobs for the last 6 months.
okay,
So they had zero revenue, but they're expecting a big job in 3 months and they need to renew their license. DOR goes, oh, well, your revenue was zero. They kick out and terminate their license, their endorsement immediately.
I see, yeah, okay. So they want to be right, yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
How do we treat this item?
And
Very nice presentation too.
Yeah,
It's
thank
very clear and.
I have a feeling we may have another one.
what?
Tara is also here for the ordinance related to updates to the definitions of sales for purposes of sales tax collection.
That was B4. Now we're on to B5.
Maybe I misspoke. We don't have a problem.
We do.
Oh,
So that was item B4. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
it was
just got
B4.
my computer back.
this next one adds some more categories subject to sales tax.
All right. So this one is something that the state has just thrown at us. It is an update to the definition of retail sales. It is going to fall under ESSB 5814. The 2025 Washington State Legislature passed the Engrossed Substitute Senate Bill 5814, which has added new business activities to the definition of retail sales. Businesses providing certain services must collect sales tax starting October 1st, 2025. Well, we're clearly past that. The law also updates the digital automated services or DOS exclusions. Their purpose was to modernize tax code to capture services increasingly common in the digital economy. This is going to ensure consistent taxation across traditional and digital services and clarify exemptions for specific health services such as telehealth, telemedicine, those type of entities. So the key changes that we're going to see, these are new taxable services, advertising services, live presentations, information technology services, custom website development services, investigation, security, and first services, temporary staffing services, and sales of custom software and customization of pre-written software. The DOS exclusions are going to be removed. They are basically the services primarily involving human effort, the live presentations, advertising services, data processing service, and the new DOS exclusion is going to include telehealth and telemedics services. Okay, so they're
Consent, sorry.
the proposed action.
Sorry.
We're going to amend Bremerton Municipal Code 3.48.030S to align with ESSB 5814. It's going to update the definition of retail sales for purposes of sales tax. Their timeline, this took effect October 1st. Some businesses for these services are now being subject to the retail sales tax as required by state law. Cities must adopt and update their ordinances to match this no later than January 1st, 2026. Basically, in layman terms, what they are doing is they are changing retail services to collect sales tax. It will reduce the B&O, but it will increase sales tax side of it.
Oh.
And so that's kind of your basic on what that's going to do.
Sorry.
And open up for questions and then, well, we already know it was discussed. Fine. Jennifer, go ahead. And then Denise.
You know what? Let me go ahead and defer to, I feel bad. Maybe I should defer to somebody in finance if they wanted to.
I'm not on one.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna defer to you,
Denise.
Denise.
Okay, I'm just aware that on the county level, they're dealing with those and they're getting some lobbying from various service type professionals. I think horse training and boarding and all that. The county's almost taking or seems to be taking let's figure this out type of, have they already adopted this as well?
They're required to. I mean,
Right.
the state is basically saying this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
If you want to maintain your registration and ability, you're going to have to adopt this. We don't
Okay.
have any recourse with them at this point.
I see Director Spencer.
I just wanted to add that the notion of what they're working on with the horse training facilities
Yeah.
and what they're doing. They're trying to do land use controls. That's separate than what we're talking about.
Okay.
here. So
Okay.
those two are not the same.
Thank
All
you.
we're doing is wrapping in what the new state law changes are. And I also want to clarify, this one did not come to the finance committee, only the other one did. So
Okay.
this one, while we were working on the ordinance, we realized the new state law updates took effect on October 1, and we needed to do this ordinance in parallel. to the other one. So we're just straight up adopting what the state law says.
And that's also included, you were saying they're gonna save on their B and O. That's included in the way the legislation is.
That's their way of saying that this is a trade.
Okay,
So it takes away some and adds some, and it's the scale of balance, basically.
okay. All right, thank you.
I think that was just kind of my only question. I was concerned about losing revenue, but it doesn't sound like, I don't even know we get that much money from these particular services in our.
We should see an increase in the sales tax.
Increase
You
in
know,
sales
we-
tax. Okay, all right, thank you.
So this, thank you. So this increase in the sales tax, will that, the 1/10 of 1% automatic, it will swell the pool of money that funds the 1/10 of 1% that funds so many activities?
That's, from our understanding, yeah, that's the way that they're funneling this and making this.
Yeah. And my second question is, I looked through all the outreach that the state has done, and I have to say it passed me by entirely. I did not see one notice.
So they told everybody that there were discussions about it. And then in August, at the end of August, we had an AWC meeting where we were given the red line notes and said, here it goes. So we were like, oh, okay, we got it. We'll get this done very quickly.
Right. So is there anything that finance is doing to increase outreach in Bremerton and decrease confusion?
So according to
and
the
increase
state,
compliance.
they were the ones that outreach because they're the ones who handle the collection of sales.
Okay.
Okay.
It's nice of them to do that.
I know.
And so
Since they
quietly.
did it.
Quiet.
So Tara, my understanding, the reason why we're doing this at the local level is so we can collect our portion of the sales tax to be coincide with the state law. That's why we're doing this housekeeping.
Correct, and we need to update our ordinance to match the definitions and the listing of the itemized to match what they should.
Okay.
Okay, Jeff.
And then just for clarity, as I read it, the live presentation portion, is live presentations done over the internet solely. So it's not, if I were to charge to have me do a one-man show and $50 a ticket, it's a webinar or Zoom or, yeah.
They've had some discussions back and forth because that one has not been as clear as far as what they've introduced. So I believe that they'll probably be a little more coming down the pipeline as they clean things up and reorganize a little bit, but these are the established what they put forth for October 1st.
Okay, so the definition of live presentation where participants are connected to other participants via the internet or telecommunications equipment.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
So, yeah.
that's our understanding at this point. There were a lot of questions that came through about live presentations. That was probably one of the biggest struggles that they had as far as explaining and defining.
That makes sense. And it seems like most of this is focused on capturing sales tax from new digital economy and digital activities. So,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, how do we treat this item?
Consent.
Consent.
Got to do it.
Okay, it is. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Burgess.
Thank you very much.
You're out of the hot.
Bada bing, bada bang.
Oh, yeah.
So Mr. Jackson, you got a short commute. We're gonna welcome you. Present items B2 and B3. Item B2 is the resolution approving annexation proceedings for 2925 Prairie Avenue.
Beach.
Parcel number 1222401-1-033-2002. Go ahead, sir, when you're ready.
This is Mr. Steve Ottmeyer, PLS. He's with AES Consulting. He's here representing the applicant, Perry Avenue Water District.
Yes.
Everything goes away. I can go into presentation. Right. Well, it's been quite some time. We have an annexation request. Yeah, wonderful. As I said, Mr. Otmar is here joining us, representing the applicant. The Perry Avenue Water District has a property that has notice of intention to commence annexation proceedings with the city of Bremerton. Orders of the day, per RCW 35-13125, the city council shall meet with the initiating parties to determine, one, whether the city accepts, rejects, or geographically modifies the proposed annexation, whether it shall require the assumption of existing city indebtedness by the area to be annexed. This decision must be recorded in the minutes. Whether it shall require the simultaneous adoption of the comprehensive plan, which also must be recorded in the minutes, or opposed to that simultaneous adoption of the comp plan, except interim zoning of general commercial until such time as permanent zoning designations are established. Annual comprehensive plan process per RCW 35-63-200. Now you'll see here on the right, kind of just a flow chart of where we're at and where we're going. We're at the petition submitted for 10% ownership, where the city council is now meeting with that petitioner and will accept or modify or deny that request, at which point we will take another application from the applicant for a submission of a 60% petition. They are 100% of the area we would be annexing, so it would be kind of a foregone conclusion. And then we would send a notice to the Kitsap County assessor asking for legal sufficiency. They provide that to the city, and then the city council would have a public hearing on the proposed annexation and on the proposed interim zoning. And then we would have, after that public hearing, we would send that out to the boundary review board, and then another city council public meeting once that boundary review process is complete. So you will be seeing this in the future. We have comprehensive plan policies for annexation. One, that the city evaluate annexations on the basis of their short and long-term community impacts and benefits. That we encourage and assist property owners in existing unincorporated islands or peninsulas in the city's urban growth areas to annex. That we support annexations to create logical boundaries and reasonable service areas within the city's urban growth area, where the city has a fiscal capacity to provide services, and while requiring property owners within an annexation area to assume their share of city indebtedness. And lastly, to support and encourage annexations where appropriate and to continue to monitor supply availability for development sites in the city. Where is it? So everybody is clear. We have an aerial photograph on the left and then an exhibit provided by the applicant on the right. The existing city limits are there either in blue dash in the aerial photography or an overlay of blue on the surveyed portion. It's a very odd boundary, and to make it even more odd is the area for annexation is there in orange in both images. It's an 8,000 approximately square foot lot that's surrounded on 3 sides by the city of Bremerton. So to the northwest and south, this is already incorporated area. Even the road from Center Line west is in the city of Bremerton. There's just this small sliver that creates this illogical boundary.
Perfect.
The applicant, the Perry Avenue Water District, recently purchased in July the Perry Avenue Mall. So they now have, from their smaller site, this much larger site that is now underneath their ownership. And if they're going to have any kind of logical permitting or even just having to change jurisdictional rules as they're going across their property line would be cumbersome. Thus their annexation request to make it more simplified boundary. You see a picture of the site there on the right. Like I said, it's approximately an 8,000 square foot parcel, and the use is in approximately 2,200 square foot office building that's existing. And it is publicly owned, and it is located in the East Bremerton urban growth area. As far as fiscal considerations, they are de minimis impacts to the city due to its limited geographical area. It's an 8,000 square foot lot that's surrounded by the city on 3 sides. So we're already servicing this area with City of Bremerton services. It is a publicly owned property, so it would be exempt from property tax. It would also be, as far as sewer fees, we would be removing that UGA surcharge. We have an amount that's tabled here from years 23 and 24. Those service changes would be for sewer. They would be adding a monthly stormwater management fee. We've figured that that's probably going to be around $75 a month. They are not currently serviced by city drinking water, only city sewer. And impacts to streets are minimal because we're already potentially servicing that area just north.
Wait until you're done.
As far as gathering other areas for annexation or limiting it to this parcel, the OUAs are limited in this area. So it's likely making additional properties to annex infeasible. And for the members of the public, outside utility agreements, OUAs, are an agreement for future annexation, and they're required when properties outside of the city connect to city utilities. We don't have very many of those in the area. That's the request for the one property to annex. As far as the interim zoning is concerned, the site is in the county and currently has no city zoning. However, it is surrounded on 3 sides by general commercial and is an existing office use. RCW 3563-200 allows for interim zoning, but does require a public hearing at some point. So we would incorporate that in later in the annexation process. And the site would then be evaluated through the city's annual comprehensive plan amendment process for permanent land use designation. And then just going back to those orders of the day, what we would need responses from the city council on to accept, reject, or geographically modify the proposed annexation, and so on. I could repeat them, but I've been through this before. I can leave this slide up if it's helpful.
Any questions from the council, Denise?
In my district, I walk it, all the time. You and I have walked it. Dr. Spencer and I walked it, and it's kind of like, yeah, okay, let's make it square. Let's fix that little gap in the middle. I have all kinds of ideas about what the water district could do with that property, of course, but that's for another time. Yeah. But yeah, this seems like just the right thing to do. Yeah.
It's kind of like the missing two. Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah. That's all for me.
Other questions? Jeff?
Because besides the geometrical symmetry and a slightly lower sewer bill, any other reason to join the city or benefits?
Well, we've got a master plan that we're working on for the old mall, and it just makes sense to swallow that up. Why it was left out in the beginning, it's way before my time, but I think it has to do with North Prairie's water district was in the county. It's all north. On a roll jacket, it just makes sense to keep themselves.
They're a 30-second version of the master plan. I know.
Might be secret.
I love
but-
what's, yeah.
You don't have to answer that.
No,
The answer is no, that's fine. Yeah.
No, actually,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
germane.
landlord business, so we want to split that up on individual lots and sell
Gotcha.
No worries.
them. The old Red Apple, I think, is going to be their service center, storage, that kind of stuff. I think there's an arena there that used to be an outdoor venue, that they're retaining for future development. And then the rest of it,
That thing.
we're on the market.
All subject to future permitting public
Yeah.
process.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all together on one lot.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So this proposed annexation property is on North Perry Water District water?
Yes.
And it doesn't want to get on City of Bremerton water?
I think North Perry Water District has that whole Perry Avenue.
Yeah, I'm just checking.
Yeah.
Okay. And I understand that everything around there is commercial, but looking at the directives from the state in in the chapter 20 that we're gonna look at later, and looking at how housing is our greatest need, can we do multi-used as proposed interim zoning?
So the general commercial zone allows for both residential and commercial uses currently.
Okay.
It's a mixed use.
That's all my questions, and I'm really enjoying envisioning the really stubborn family that we're gonna hang on to that property by God.
Mr. Jackson, I got a question. If you could put up your slide where you have the other green properties that have outside utility agreement. So as we know, I believe we know, it's the voting of 60% by land size, not assessed value, and not individual parcels, 60%. So one, when I look at this question, this is a street, it's a county road, this is a county road. So this person or this entity or whatever that is could be approached to go ahead and join this petition. Likewise, this area here, I'd have to do the calculation, but I believe that is, the green is bigger than 60%. You can put this area. So did you take that into consideration?
We did consider it, and it's noted in the packet where you could attempt a larger annexation area, but then it's going to limit future annexation attempts for larger properties. These are OUAs that we have. So if we go to, once we acquire more OUAs.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. So you could consider that now, but it might jeopardize future annexation requests.
So when you think about the future annexation, so then it's like, okay, do we do it now or do we do it later?
No.
What are these other properties? What would get them to sign an outside utility? It's if we extend utility. So North Perry Water is extending the water. Have we already extended the sewer to all these properties?
I'm not sure whether they signed for sewer or for water service or where our water service.
I believe it's sanitary sewer.
So my point is that they will never sign in all likelihood an outside utility agreement if they already have sewer and North Perry is providing the water. The only reason they would sign an OUA is that for some reason the city of Bremerton took over the North Perry Water District or whatever, right? I think that would be the only reason. So what is their incentive to sign an OUA?
Once again, connecting to city sewer.
Right, but my understanding is they already connected to city sewer. These other lots are on septic?
I assume that those OUAs are on city sewer. I would not think that any of those lots that aren't highlighted in green have sewer service.
That was my question.
Yeah.
So you don't think they have sewer?
I would assume that. I could confirm that with our utilities folks.
Well, may I?
Yeah.
The green little goofy thing there is mostly a rental property, like it's businesses.
Sure, the one that's just south, in the kind of.
Yeah, it looks like a Tetris block.
Yeah.
That one is, it's businesses. And there's no, I mean, it's just across the street. It's across Sheridan. It's not it has its own little parking lot. Then next to that is Bremerton Auto Repair, which is in gray. Across from that is just a couple of houses. And then there's that Manette Coffee. You know, I think they used to have a photography studio across the way there. But it's a big green lot, meaning that it looks like two parcels.
You want me to go to parcel search?
There's two parcels in that green one. This may be a little not germane though,
Coffee
huh?
stand.
Yeah, the coffee stand and then that big white house.
2802. Yeah, the big one house.
So I guess I'm asking a follow-up question.
And
So-
then honestly, all those there's not many parcels on that.
Right, and so if they have city sewer, then it behooves us to go ahead and grab, let's see if these other ones want to come into the city. Does that not make sense? But if they don't, then I understand what you're saying is just wait and we could grab a bigger area once they have to have sewer. And if these are residential, I mean, it just got to determine if they have sewer.
It's completely up to the city council whether to accept, reject, or modify the geographical area. So if you'd like us to do that, then we should figure out what geography that you're interested in, and we can look into it.
Well, I'm not interested in thwarting his plans, Perry Avenues, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. If you're
Yeah.
telling me it'd be better to wait, and I need to know, are they on sewer already? Because we're waiting for nothing.
Right, right. No, I get it. I get it. Direct, I was looking back there and seeing
I
direct.
just wanted to clarify Eric's comment. The area, can you flip to where the ODA map is?
Mhm.
We'd have to do more research, but if it's not green, more than likely they're on septic. So as people hook to sewer, they will turn from gray to green.
So all I'm asking is, we say more than likely, just tell me if they're on septic or not.
More than likely they are on septic.
More than likely, for sure.
Yeah,
We'll have to do more research to determine that, but they would turn from gray to green if they hook to city sewer, and that's the point that they have to fund, right?
Right, all I'm asking is you to confirm whether they're on sewer or not.
It would require more research.
Is that a heavy lift?
No, we can do that.
That's all I'm asking, and if they are on septic, then I say, go ahead and go through with your petition, but that's just me, all I'm saying, I hope that people understand what I'm getting at.
It's proactive.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
It's being proactive and kind of,
Grab more if this is all we can grab.
yeah.
And I'm a little confused too, and maybe it's just me, but the green properties have outside utility agreements. So
Yeah.
they cannot protest annexation.
Understand.
So you want to know if the green properties are on sewer or
No.
the gray?
No, the gray.
Okay, okay.
That's
Okay.
all.
We can work with our
It kept,
utility building to figure that out. And then present that information.
In an email, that's
before-
fine.
On the email, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to stop this process, it's just one of those, oh, should we be looking at the bigger picture? Or is the bigger picture, like you said, we'll wait for these other ones. I assume this is a commercial area, and so when they become commercial or have a higher density, they'll get onto sewer if they're not on sewer already. And then that'll trigger the OUA.
These are all residential houses. There's a lady that has ducks over there and geese or
Right,
chickens.
but the lots are so big that eventually development will come and they may want to,
It's kind of an environmentally sensitive area off to the east. It's on way down.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
dare I mention it, I believe that Enitai is in that area to the east.
So when we're talking about future sewer extensions,
Right.
I mean, this would follow into that trajectory, should that sewer ever be installed.
Oh, okay, yeah, this up here.
So I gotta go back and clarify and make sure I understand.
but there is a sewer line because we've got these properties here, right? There must be a sewer line there. They just haven't hooked up.
But I thought
There's a
those,
sewer line in Perry Avenue.
okay,
those colored properties are already connected to sewer, correct?
Right, and so I'm saying that these could also connect too if they wanted to,
Right,
but are they or are they not? We
That
don't
was
know.
what you
They
wanted to-
sign
yeah.
OUAs, that's all I want
Yeah.
to know.
So if I understand, just want to make sure I got it right. We modified the area. Do you mind just putting that up, Erica? Sure can see it.
Garrett probably has,
Yeah.
you know.
So
The green I think we're hyper focused on that.
back to the map of.
Yeah.
Yeah, the green.
That's what I'm sure. So we could amend the request to say,
Yeah.
we'd like to annex this and boom here.
Yeah.
And by the 60% rule, these properties are automatically counted as yes votes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we'd only need a couple
That's
more,
what he
depends on the
said.
property valuation, right? Okay.
Yes.
And we would get, yeah. That business area would come into the city, which brings in sales tax. Yeah.
Bremerton Auto Repair is there
I
too.
know.
I don't know where they're at.
Are these property owners aware that they have an OUA?
I don't know.
Are the people, like tenants, aware of it?
It's a notice to title. So
Okay.
typically it's put on the property title and then
Which everybody reads and memorizes.
Precisely. So it's really hard to say, what somebody might know unless they're reading their title report.
So my second question is, since the Voice of Experience Council President has mentioned, why don't we just go for all of them? Why wasn't that part of the original proposal?
Well,
Because you wanted to wait and
With a nice-
catch a larger whale?
that's the idea, is that a future annexation effort would then have these properties to count into the equation of how much valuation is included in a larger annexation area. And if we keep taking little corners off here and there, then that's going to hurt larger annexation efforts later.
Yeah, I see what you're saying,
Right.
because they're counted then. Okay,
Valuation or
If I
size?
could add also, they have plans to do things on the site and we didn't want to hinder Perry Avenue.
Yes, yes.
Water district from being able to move forward with what they need to do with this mall. And since it wasn't contiguous with any of the other green ones, that's why we didn't touch it at this time. And why I wouldn't recommend amending the petition just so that they can move forward. It's such a small value parcel that it's not gonna carry a lot.
but the redevelopment potential on that site is
It's
great,
much greater and.
It's
being able
great.
to
and I
work
would
with
hate to hinder that.
To benefit from additional.
Yeah,
It was good to
Sales
explore
revenue.
this for the future. So thank you for bringing that up, Eric.
Okay, drop my request. We're good.
We will email you though.
I'd like to know,
what we can find in the area.
But as far as, I'm gonna withdraw my request as far as any, whatever, I'm good with this,
Future annexation plan.
depending on public comment, so, yeah. All right, any other questions from council?
thank you.
And don't know if this is a public hearing or, hang on a second.
Yep.
Okay.
They're both public hearings, right?
In the future, there'll be public hearings. This is just meeting with the applicant.
So this one can be consent agenda. It's resolution.
So just so, for a manner of form for the minutes, the city accepts as proposed. They're requiring that the assumption of existing city indebtedness, and that we will not require simultaneous adoption of the comprehensive plan. That we will instead permit interim zoning of general commercial. It said in the RCW, it needs to be said in the minutes, so.
So no worries. So I'm a little confused because this is a resolution and normally those are open to vote. Are you saying that we can address this in the study session without having?
No, but I'm saying it needs to be, I guess it could be reflected in the minutes of the regular meeting.
Okay.
My apologies. It's in the RCW, so it made me nervous.
So, but actually it's good because I believe this can just be, it's a resolution. It can be just consent agenda and you would not have a chance to say that. So that's good that you did cover that. So can you explain to me, the assumption of existing city indebtedness by the Heritage Next? What does that mean? I think I understand. It basically says if you're going to join the city, oh, by the way, we've got some loans on the books and you're going to assume your portion of that. That's
Right. And what that would mean for a government institution or nonprofit, I'm not entirely sure. But it's a policy in our comprehensive plan that we add that in, and it didn't seem like it would, it seemed to be just in line with what we require. So
yeah.
it may be kind of a stuffed shirt, but yeah, straw man.
Stuffed shirt.
Yeah, like there's nothing, not a lot of substance to it.
I don't think there is a lot of substance to
Yeah.
it. Basically, you're joining the city and yeah, we've got whatever we have on the books and you're part of it. That's what it's saying, but it's not
Yeah, so
like
if
you're,
there's any levies or like the police and fire.
property.
incorporating or saying whatever levies are passed, I'm now subject to as well. Okay, that makes sense.
Old
Yes.
language that's been handed down many times.
Yeah, it sounds like old language that could be put in layman's terms. I thought there was some project to do that.
There is a desire
Been
amongst some members of
suggested.
this council to have plain
Been
language. Yes,
suggested.
yes, there is.
Well, I just see it in the RCW as needing to be addressed, and so.
Boom,
Yeah.
check, done.
All right, and we're gonna
No,
go
we
through the
don't
same
need
thing again now, the 60%, that will be an actual hearing. Okay, so for this one, it'll be, if the council's okay, it'll be on consent agenda, there'll be no presentation. We're good with that, council?
And then if it comes back with 60% in favor, at that point, there's still a decision whether to accept it or not. Is that correct?
The council can reject the annexation at this point, should they choose. At this point, what I'm hearing though is this singular property would be moving forward for annexation,
Yeah.
not a larger proposal.
Just in the spirit of, getting public comment as we're worrying others are seeing it for the first time. So there was something convincing down the road. There's still a option to not continue with it.
Absolutely. We're gonna have a public hearing before it goes fine. All right, so how do you want to treat this as consent for next week?
Yeah.
Consent, yes. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Thank you, Mr. Oddmeyer. Yep. You were scared a little for a bit, weren't you? That's okay.
Yeah, I get a little nervous.
All right. Have a good night, sir. The next one, Mr. Jackson, you also have a public hearing on the ordinance to approve zoning code amendments. Go ahead, you have the floor.
Great.
Okay. Zoning code amendments for the October 15th meeting to be a public hearing. And we'll be looking at neighborhood scale commercial, which would be allowing limited commercial uses in residential zones, step housing as required by RCW, which we'll talk about more in a bit, and design standards, which apply to the exterior of multifamily, commercial, and mixed-use buildings. Starting off as neighborhood scale commercial. Why are we here? Well, the state, as often they do, there was legislation moving through the last legislative session, HB 1175, that would have required small business uses in residential zones. That really got our attention and got the conversation going within the state. There's the Seattle Times article there on the right. Similar codes have been adopted in other jurisdictions, Bothell, Shoreline, Anacortes. And during the comprehensive plan update process, we heard from the community, from community members, that this is something that they wanted to see in their residential neighborhoods to encourage walkability, bikeability, that you don't need to necessarily drive to a commercial corridor in order to go to your local watering hole or a small market. And we have examples of those types of buildings throughout the city in residential areas. So this is explained more fully in the ordinance, but the summary of changes. So the uses would be limited to restaurants, drinking places when they serve food, groceries, markets, and personal services like it's a nail salon or crafting, something like that. Where would these be allowed in residential zones? They would only be permitted on street corners. So that would be the only geographically limiting criteria. Size, how big could this business be? It could be a maximum of 1,200 square feet for new construction, or a maximum of 2,500 square feet for existing buildings. Hours of operation limited to 10 p.m. They must operate within an enclosed space and conform to the city's noise ordinance. And to bring up that we did have one dissenting planning commissioner who was supportive of the zoning code amendments as written for each one of these sections, with the exception they voted no because they would have preferred a closing time of 9 p.m. And in addition to limiting businesses to street corners, that they be spaced a minimum of a quarter mile apart. Other planning commissioners thought that having them limited to street corners would make sense so that you could, on opposite street corners, have little nodes of businesses so that would naturally potentially be a location on street corners. There was originally an additional street corners and quarter mile spacing. That is not in the final version. It's only limited as written as, being on street corners and time limited to 10 p.m. So step,
Can we do these one at a time? I'm gonna forget all of this.
Yeah,
But-
you okay with that, Ms. Jackson? Go ahead, let's open up for questions on that.
Drinking place with food, 10 p.m. No.
for the council to discuss.
Yeah, it's, I don't know about you guys' neighborhoods, but a lot of my neighbors work at the shipyard. They get home at like 4:07. And they are generally asleep by like between 9 and 9:30. So something that's open till 10 p.m., that's just too late. That's like a Kitsap Way,
McLeod's.
Wheaton Way.
No, McLeod's, a little bit later.
This is actually was my first thought that I didn't want to, I was trying to think of some place in my district. So that for me is a huge concern. A drinking place with food often in the actuality shakes out to everything you want to drink and a bowl of pretzels. That counts as food, or tater tots that you can microwave. You know, it doesn't have to be like an actual restaurant. And you are in fact calling it a drinking place. I don't think that this is going to increase walkability. I don't think it's going to be someplace that people want to have in their neighborhood. And I'm speaking as somebody who's been lamenting Hell's Ales for years and years, but that place was, I don't believe, open until 10 p.m. The second thing is that I feel like following Denise here, the city noise ordinance. How many city noise ordinance citations have been issued this year?
I'm sure that's not handled by DC.
In 2023, it was 1.
It's hard to enforce it.
It's not that hard to enforce. They were enforcing it for years before that.
And just so you know, that's the intent behind the planning commission, or specifically asked they be in closed places so that there's nothing outdoor.
People can't smoke indoors. And when people are drinking, they're smoking. And when they're smoking, they're outside. And if they've been drinking, they're like, you know, regular people. They get as far away from each other as they can, and then they shout. I really, that's a sticking point for me. Yeah, just those two things. I think 8 p.m. is plenty late enough for a residential area. It would, yeah.
Jennifer?
Was the intent of this to be, and I feel like I heard the language being like cottage businesses. Was the intent, I mean, because I'm thinking we can say that they can't have, you know, be bars. We can say that, right? That can be a part of the code. But I'm thinking like there's a ton of little like cottage bakeries around. There's a ton of artisans. Maybe they want to have a, you know, a shop on the corner. So I totally hear it. It's still, it's okay. Here, I'll just go down low.
I can't fix that.
That's all right. Time will fix it, literally. But I was curious about street corners. So was there any discussion about like, so I'm thinking about like a couple different pieces of property, like property that's near my cul-de-sac. We have a big yard before his house. And then we have one neighborhood commercial zone in my area, and he's got that big yard. So like, what is there a definition of how far back from the sidewalk a corner lot, like a corner business would be?
So it would be the setbacks that are allowed in the zone. So if it was in the R10 zone, it would be 15 feet back from the property line.
Okay. Okay. All right. So 50, it depends on that.
So I think the big yard lot you're talking about is in the neighborhood.
It already is, but it needs to have development on it because that lot, right? Like you would put it on the corner, you would put a building in that lot that's empty. You wouldn't use the house that technically they own the whole corner, right? So 15 feet back, so they could have 15 feet a yard.
So it wouldn't apply to that lot because that's already commercially zoned. But just as an example, right?
Sure, let's not use that as an example. I'm thinking about the corner lot and the cul-de-sac where I live, around Stephenson. And he's got a pretty substantial yard, and he's also got a house that's for the fence in the corner. So if his house, the lot itself, he owns the corner lot, but the house is facing the cul-de-sac. You know what I mean? So that wouldn't be applicable, or would it be if the front facing is facing the inside of the smaller street, the smaller neighborhood, as opposed to I mean, I guess I'm trying to figure out what the major streets are that this would be applicable on.
You know, all streets. So street corner, as written, it would be all street corners.
Okay. This is interesting to think about. There's a lot of nuances to it, and I'm intrigued by learning more.
So in the neighborhood business zone is typically areas that have small commercial areas. Like, so the Sheridan Road mini mart in your district is a good example of a small business that's in a residential area.
Yeah.
Or over the High-Lows area.
High-Lows, yeah.
Former.
The former High-Lows, the
yeah,
former
it's-
Hells Hills.
Commercial in traditionally residential area. So
So we would be creating more of those spaces within our different neighborhoods.
we'd be taking away the prohibition.
Okay.
So it would still need to make economic sense for someone to build a commercial business away from commercial corridors. I know there's a lot of turnover in those areas, so whether they're economically viable is for the private sector to figure out. This would be, are we going to remove the prohibition?
So it'd just be like, I mean, we're really just talking about people converting their homes into a business.
Potentially.
Okay, but, or are we talking about developing, somebody could build a business into a neighborhood?
So if it would be new construction, it would be a maximum of 1,200 square feet, or if it's someone's existing home or something like that, it could be a maximum of 1,200 square feet.
I feel like I could support this, but I would want to put like some kind of wording in there to prohibit kind of food and drink that's alcoholic, and also maybe, and I hate to say, maybe like cannabis too. Maybe those, I mean, we have a limit on how many cannabis stores we can have in our city, right?
It's really hard to cite a cannabis shop because there's schools and, so, I'm sorry, I'm talking out of turn.
Well, no, I'm interested in what you have to say. Was it okay if we say that again?
If you have a cannabis shop, it can't be near another cannabis shop.
Right.
And it also has to have a certain distance from a school. And then Garrett's going to tell us the 17 other prohibitions.
1,000 feet from daycares, schools, and specified use parks.
And daycares, does that include home daycares, registered home
If they have a
daycares?
business license.
Yeah, well, technically, yeah,
Remember? Yeah.
they all
Are
do.
you a business? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I mean, and I do appreciate the discussion about the time frame too. I think 8 or 9 o'clock would be unless it grows, and that's a whole nother discussion. If it becomes like all four corners have a business, the new business section, then that's a whole nother discussion for another day and another council, probably, right? Thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, Jeff. Well, thank you. A comment and a question. Say it out loud. The current noise ordinance goes to 10 p.m. That's correct as far as I'm just looking up. And
We
then,
have to look at,
Okay.
I know it changes by zone. So not,
It does.
And
But,
day of the week.
well, yeah, I was gonna say 10 p.m. except, I think for the most part, 10 p.m. except 11 p.m. Friday and Saturdays for live music.
Mhm.
We updated a few years ago.
Mhm.
Controversy. Anyway, so I just,
What?
Oh, yeah.
so I think it,
There was controversy.
yeah, what? But I think it sounds like that it's consistent. The proposed language here of 10 p.m. seems overall consistent with the noise ordinance. So I'm just interested in consistency for folks.
Okay.
The question is, do we have a list of other cities that have enacted similar measures? And I'm looking at MRSC right now. And if what we're proposing is in line with what they proposed, and if we have any feedback so far.
I mentioned
Anna
previously
Cordes
that
and-
looked at
Oh,
as
that's it.
far
Oh,
as
Shoreline.
Shoreline and Anacortes. Some of them offer drinking places, I believe, off memory. I think Anacortes was just market. And then the original proposal of the quarter mile spacing, one jurisdiction does that, another jurisdiction does it on street corners. I believe the city of Seattle is doing a similar measure on street corners. We combined them both with the initial proposal to have the more conservative approach. And the planning commission thought that was too conservative, and then took away the quarter mile approach and left the street corners.
Okay. And
So
do we know
our
approximately?
code's a hodgepodge of looking at other jurisdictions. best
Okay.
practices, and then incorporating that into our code.
That's good.
I should mention this would be a conditional use permit that would be subject to public comment. So if there are specific public concerns, things can be added, like screening, maybe certain conditions if there is a concern over.
The proposed code here that we're looking at.
Correct.
Right,
There's
okay.
currently a conditional use permit.
Do we know what approximate years those went into effect?
I do know.
Okay. I just think it might be good for a presentation next week if it's not too much a lift to kind of have the
Yeah,
year,
I can include.
maybe years and just a quick summary of what each one entails.
So, we had discussion about cannabis. When I look at the code 20.46.240 neighborhood scale commercial, it's just, it mirrors Mr. Jackson's PowerPoint.
Mhm.
The only uses allowed are restaurant, drinking place, and offering food, market, grocery store, and personal services. So cannabis stores are not allowed in this zone, just to be clear. That's my understanding.
Clear.
Okay, so let's get back to Council Member Mockler's honest question. I too have concerns. So, yeah, we have commercial corridor, we have noise ordinance, we have 10 p.m. Now we're putting this into neighborhoods where you have residential. I'm dovetailing what you're saying. The noise ordinance is very difficult to enforce. I see possibility of a restaurant or a drinking place also offering live entertainment, a band.
Yeah.
And people open the door to get in and ingress, egress, to go out to have a smoke. I've dealt with the stuff up at Kids Halfway. I know it's a unique situation where the back basically becomes a speaker, but nevertheless, 10 o'clock is too late. If we're gonna be progressive and allow this, fine. But I don't know about 10. I got concerns. I don't know about 8. I'd be more inclined to what the one planning commissioner has currently suggested, which is 9, which I think is reasonable. Now, granted, I eat early, but most people, I think, we're not in Europe. Most people are done eating by 8 o'clock, I would assume. That's logical. And 9 o'clock is reasonable. You have your band. If you're gonna, this would allow bands, right? They could have band there. Is that true? If you have a restaurant, you can have a band.
Look, people can
Inside of
have
1200.
band practice in their garage.
Inside of 1,200 square.
It could be reused place.
Yeah.
There's some odd
Yeah.
buildings around here that could be it could be
Yeah.
done. So you could have open mic. You could have like a person with a guitar and another one belting it out in 1,200.
You've got some really great
So-
ideas, Eric. You should come and
Well,
plan events for me at my
I
shop.
was gonna say, you want to make a fortune in the restaurant business, a small fortune?
Start with a large one.
Okay,
Yeah.
used to say the same.
That's so
Used to
true.
say the same thing in the winery business. So, but anyway, 9 o'clock to me sounds more reasonable as a compromise. Go ahead, Denise.
You know, representing District 2 and McLeod's, and the surrounding residential area around McLeod's. They've negotiated kind of a 9 p.m. stop time, which is that's a business saying they don't really have to stop till 10, right? But they're doing that. And now we're working on volume. Because it's just impossible, you know, to measure. It's just something nobody can do. Anyway, because of that experience and because of where they used to be in District 2, a drinking establishment, Eric's right, they're gonna wanna have music because that keeps people there. It keeps them sweating and they're gonna drink more. And I mean, it's the business model, you know? And
I don't know about that.
well, it is,
Heck, I'm
you know,
in
they're
bed by
gonna
9 o'clock,
stay,
so.
they're gonna stay. So I'm not a fan, you know, I've been in Portland, it's kind of cute when there's a bar on the corner in a neighborhood. But my daughter's lived in one of those neighborhoods, it's not so cute. So I just don't see any reason, why can't they simply be a restaurant and serve alcohol? At least you'd get good food and the impact on the neighborhood is what I'm concerned about. It should be a benefit.
So I'm sorry, we've all been jumping in with criticisms, and I think all of us are pretty excited about like quiet, cool shops, increasing walkability in residential neighborhoods. I think everybody's like, yeah. I agree with Denise, like a restaurant with wine and beer, and just stop there. You were mentioning another city that did not allow drinking places. Anacortes, was it?
I believe, and we really need to look at it, that their code was limited to markets, if I recall correctly.
So, like,
One city that we looked at allowed for breweries also. but we
Well, that's the
didn't
thing,
incorporate
that's
that.
beer only, and that's plenty of people stick around for music and beer.
But we could.
so that was really.
Great water.
Those were really the points that I wanted to make. And it's just, there is so much, again, maybe not in you guys' neighborhoods, but in my neighborhood, there's so many customized mufflers. There are so many people who get home and say, you know what, I'd like to set off a couple of mortars. There are so many people like working on really old cars that apparently need to be run at very high revolutions for long periods of time. There's so many assaults on the ear already that introducing a bar with, as Eric says, the door opens, the door closes, the door opens, the door closes. People are outside smoking, which is really the only good part of it because it makes it a little safer for women and children walking alone at night.
May I just ask clarification?
I guess for clarification, then Jeff has.
What is the bar? What defines a bar? Just having liquor?
So I was looking up the definitions and unfortunately they start in the packet with E. So what is the definition of a drinking place? And my understanding is, oh boy, I shouldn't go interpret it.
That is weird.
Control board, but there is a differentiation. You have to have some type of food and that it gives you a different type of license.
It could be chips.
Thank you for your patience, but I looked at
On your phone.
Title
Or pretzels.
20.42 definition.
Just what is a bar? Because I think like when y'all are talking about like, oh, a drinking place, but like a restaurant can be a drinking place and have a bar.
Well, let's
Drinking
find out.
I mean, I was
State-
thinking about like, I'm thinking about Lola,
The
right?
state will tell
Oh,
us.
that's a restaurant.
Drinking
Sure.
place means an establishment selling intoxicating beverages for consumption on the premises.
Yeah, so a restaurant can be a drinking place
Hmm.
and a drinking place can be
We
a
that needs
restaurant.
more of a primary use. Drinking place would be primary. That would be allowed per this code. Whereas a restaurant might have alcohol as an accessory use.
Right.
I like the restaurant definition over the drinking place definition.
Me too.
Good, Jeff, you have the floor.
Did we put anything in our recently passed comp plan about neighborhood scale commercial?
Not that I recall. I believe that we have a lot about walkability and bikeability that you might reference, but I would need to look up if there's anything about neighborhood scale commercial.
Just figure when we go to public comment, if we had that in there. Interested to hear public input on this.
Yeah, so you have the rest of your presentation as well.
Okay, that's can I hear consensus wise that we should alter the code as proposed to 9 PM and remove drinking places?
And put restaurant?
Yeah, restaurants in there.
So the drinking place that means you can't have
Standalone bar.
a brewery.
Correct.
If you had the drinking place in there, you could have a brew pub. Right, a brew pub's a restaurant.
Sure. Well,
See, that's where we're getting a little.
sure, and honestly, that'd be a permit by permit basis. It would be open for public comment on what would be the primary use. So,
Oh,
Yeah, because a brew
That
pub,
brings
you
me-
could argue the primary use is the food, and then they just happen to make the beer on premise versus a restaurant. The primary is the food, and they happen to bring the beer from the distributor. There's no difference. So a brew pub could be allowed,
There's a lot to do in 1,200 square feet. but-
Yeah, 1,200 square.
or 2,500.
Fair enough.
I have another important question before you go.
Sure, go ahead.
We're establishing new uses in this as well, right? Like like a house that's gonna become like a new use. I don't know why that's blowing my mind right now, but establishing use, different, like, is that house going to again be able to be a residential home one day?
If they could, but it would take significant upgrades for the International Building Code to have as a business, so I'm assuming, yes, you could have it as a house in the
Because
future.
that's already a previous use, so then it's converted to a business, but that business becomes a restaurant. Can that business also become, what's another example of it? I'm just, this whole, I don't know, I think that's
looking pretty far down the road.
I know, but I'm just thinking, well, I mean, we gotta think about these things. So we're setting primary use.
You're worried about lack of housing, losing housing for businesses?
I think that when I'm worried, one day, we're gonna be charging folks for a change of use like the county does, which I think is something that we'll be looking at one day to generate revenue. The county does this, we might do this one day. So I just want to put that on your radar. I'm gonna stop because that is a future forward kind of, isn't that our job to look future forward?
Getting back to your question, Mr. Jackson, Council, are we comfortable with 9 o'clock and eliminating drinking place? Because you could, I believe, have a brew pub as a restaurant.
Yes,
Are we in a rush to pass this?
I am.
We put out options and get public feedback.
well, it's going to a public hearing now.
Oh, well, that'd be next week. And so you need to have the base, and then hear testimony, or we could just have a public hearing with no action taken.
Kind of like hearing only.
There's a part of the public hearing we really need to have, so he has gotten that information.
Oh.
So there's a portion should be as soon as we.
Can we set?
Transition.
Yeah, you can bifurcate.
Yeah, there we go.
Big word of the day.
Hey,
Or trifurcate.
Like trousers.
Okay.
So, I mean, what I would
Well-
propose is we amend the planning commission's recommendation tonight, because it seems like there's
Yes.
consensus that we could make it 9 and remove drinking, take testimony, and it seems like if they're supported, then you can either pass or bifurcate, make a motion to remove neighborhood commercial, to send it back to the planning commission or something like that. Or if you get positive, then you could just pass it. But
Right.
setting it up so you don't have to have multiple.
Don't do
amendments.
And the other thing is, this isn't a one shot only. We could have restaurant, market, grocery store, personal services, and then, hey, we really should have drinking places, and then you could just add it later on.
The drinking
Easier to add than
population could lobby us hard.
There's so many more drinkers now than ever before. Oh, wait.
Okay, so I think we have consensus. Do those two changes. Next part of your presentation, sir.
Thank you for breaking it into slabs.
Got it. Step housing for RCW. So, we've already been through quite a few housing changes as a city in a fairly short amount of time. And largely that's driven by the state. The environment for housing in Washington state has changed dramatically in a very short amount of time. And that's thanks primarily to HB 1110 and HB 1220. These are expansive bills providing housing in Washington state, much of which was incorporated in the comp plan that we adopted. But for full implementation, it'll take the adoption of this ordinance. And specifically to RCW 3521-683, the city shall not prohibit step housing. And STEP is short or an acronym for shelters, transitional housing, emergency housing, permanent supportive housing, making the word STEP. Now, this has been since in 2001, this RCW has been in effect, and that we have had a director's interpretation in place since that time, since the RCW clearly says a city shall not prohibit, that we have allowed these uses as described in RCW, but we are now incorporating that into our code. There's a great MRSC article on changing your zoning codes to accommodate these housing types, if anyone's interested in that.
Sure.
Excellent.
Send it to us.
Will do.
Thank
So a summary of the proposed changes. So definitions would be added for transitional housing, permanent supportive housing, indoor emergency shelters, and indoor emergency housing to BMC 2042. These are straight RCW definitions, copy pasted into our code. Transitional housing and permanent supportive housing would be allowed in any zone that is residential or that allows hotels. Indoor emergency shelters and indoor emergency housing would be required in all zones that allow for hotels. These are both straight RCW. And we have a conditional use permit process that includes operation plans, code of conduct, and conditions to coordinate with BPD, which is consistent for the administrative UP process that our neighboring jurisdictions can have. So those are, that's that item.
Okay, open to discussion.
So is there anything in here that is more restrictive than anything in our current code?
Well, it's not in our current at all.
Right.
So this is, our partners at Commerce have been, through the comp plan process, have been reminding, like, hey, make sure you incorporate step, because that's a requirement. So, by and large, it's straight RCW, and we have a CUP process proposed, as other jurisdictions Kitsap do. And additionally, we did do outreach to Kitsap Housing Homeless Coalition. I went to one of their meetings virtually and let them know that this was coming up. Please comment, and provided planning commission information in the chat. Let everybody know they can participate.
Do we get comments?
No.
Okay.
So we heavy hitters for affordable housing and homelessness in Bremerton attend that meeting. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have current language in BMC on shelter definitions and requirements, right? So is this amending that, or is it adding new definitions?
We've treated shelters like most commercial buildings. They're preemptively required by the state, and if it's a commercial building, then that's how we've been treated. That being said, we haven't had shelter requests beyond a few isolated incidents in which, isolated cases rather, where we've been working with the applicants and letting them know through the pre-sub process that this is an allowed use per RCW, and working through the process on that.
So we have 20.46.90, which is a temporary encampment permit, and that has.
And a temporary encampment permit would be different, because
Thank
those
you.
are like, those aren't structures. Those are, kind of emergency situations that are supposed to be temporary in nature. This would be a permanent building, structure meeting relevant codes. That would be an indoor emergency shelter or any of these other types of.
Okay, so
Really not just question, a pallet home is not,
It's not
is also not part of this.
correct. It would not meet the International Building Code.
That would be
Building
temporary.
structure.
Temporary housing, right?
It's
So-
not temporary housing. It's more akin to a tent.
Okay.
Jennifer's
Right.
next time, okay.
So that's right now, just for clarity. So in that .90, the shelter shall mean tents, sheds, huts, cabins, tiny homes, trailers, other enclosures not permanently attached to the ground. Okay,
Yeah, and I'm just making sure that that is not a code section
Right.
we're looking at tonight.
That's
complete.
that's different. This is adding
Just
the
making
indoor
sure.
shelter language, which we do not have on the books at the moment. Okay.
Jennifer.
Okay, how long has this been on the books in RCWs?
It's went into effect in 2021.
And so it basically saying that a jurisdiction cannot prohibit these where a hotel is allowed, correct?
So we have, right? Yeah.
I mean, what is the area of Oyster Bay?
Oyster Bay has some limited, I mean, there's residential and commercial in that area, so.
And hotels
Right,
permitted right
absolutely,
across, yeah.
absolutely, it would be, yeah, in the unused code.
I'm not gonna go where I wanna go with it, but I think that's all I gotta ask. For this. Sorry.
Thanks. Yeah, so these would all be, located on sites where that would be available to the shelters for more than 5 to 20 years, right? Unlike Oyster Bay.
I don't think that we would differentiate,
Right.
you know, if we had a proposal to site a shelter, we would take it for whatever length of time they were proposing, it'd be up to their individual plans.
Okay. I guess my question is, the transitional and permanent supportive housing, required in all zones that allow residential development, but it was my understanding that in the last legislative session, it was, a law was passed that said everything has to be open to residential development, like even freeway corridor. Am I incorrect on that? Okay, I am used to that, Garrett.
I get it.
So, are you gonna ask about Harrison Heights or?
No, I'm pretty clear with this.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this, just, for a final one, if it can be residential or a hotel or always a hotel and sometimes residential, we can have these different types. And in order to, we're doing this to comply with the RCW, to better comply with it.
We're required to allow these uses as described in the proposed code. Yeah.
Thank you, Alden. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, Denise?
just a clarification too. This isn't the only, this says you can't simply prohibit it in an area, right? It says that in these areas, we have to allow it, but there might be other reasons, that other hurdles, design standards,
Critical areas.
critical areas, a lot of other things. So this is making our code friendly, right, to applications, and then we have the process from there.
Yeah, so this is
This opens the
allowing those
gate.
uses as described, but
Yeah.
then it also has to fit in
Yeah.
with the remainder of the zoning code, building code, public works, what have you. So just like any other proposal, it needs to meet relevant
Yeah.
code standards.
Yeah,
Jeff?
And so in the proposed language in the packet for the new 20.46.250, is this all basically required by the RCW? Was there anything
No, some of
added?
this
I know
was
obviously like it mentions
added.
BPD by name, so that's obviously not the RCW.
Yeah, I believe that ours was a much more slimmed down version of the city of CPAC. That has considerations about codes of conduct and items like that. So the allowing them outright in these zones is required by RCW, but then the language about codes of conduct, occupancy policies, those were added.
Gotcha. So like applicant must provide an operation plan, names, roles, contact information. That section isn't required by the RCW, but is proposed to be added in here.
All right.
Seems reasonable in my reading.
Can you restate what you just said, that they're required to have an operational plan?
All this
So-
is required for additional use.
Yeah, if you're looking at like section D there. It's like section D2 says managing agencies in the Bremerton Police Department shall establish reasonable protocols for access and coordination for the subject facility and its residents. So that's essentially requiring city agencies and BPD to work with the applicant.
Or the other way around, it requires the applicant to work with the police department.
Oh, first, yeah, sorry,
and
right,
does not depend on the police department for its security or anything, just go over the plan.
Yeah, so managing agencies is the operator. of the shelter.
Or you, since it's privately held, in my opinion, you can't say to Bremerton Police Department, you're not allowed on this premise to arrest by having. That's, I could have an attorney tell me if that's true or not, but I believe that's the intent.
That's the reasonable in the legal, shall establish reasonable protocols for access.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying you shall allow a Bremerton Police Department to do their public
Safety
duties
job. Yeah.
on your private property.
I'd say the word reasonable is.
I understand.
Can be determined on a case by case basis. Where it might not apply at all. to the Individual.
Hung up on this section.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm a little hung up on what I just heard, because like we have a shelter, does have an operations plan, exactly. Coming to, so, I mean, are we under the, if you build it, they will come kind of model on everything? I mean, I guess, okay, I'm hung up on it because we have a project, a shelter project, which is not really fitting into this box here because it's not an area that normally has. Am I right? Like the area that was Harrison Heights area does not normally have hotels, so this would not be.
Those are allowed.
It's allowed.
It's a shelter that would absolutely be allowed today in Harrison Heights.
Okay,
Yeah, as
So-
long as they meet
The
design.
temporary encampment is what I think we shouldn't confuse it with, which is not allowed.
so my question though is that I don't know, can you eliminate for me, do they have an operations plan that would fit this definition?
They in that
Are you talking,
Consortium. A consortium.
so this language would establish to have that once somebody applied, that they have to provide an operation plan at the time of the application.
Which this language is very consistent for temporary
Right.
encampments. As far as coordination with BPD.
Right.
And having a code of conduct.
Yeah. It's reasonable.
This is only for I have
It's
my,
also like our temporary.
this
So I
is
guess
not
I think-
specific to,
Keeping the language.
I think the question is, so the Salvation Army right now have an operation plan that has names, roles, and contact information for staff and site facility management.
no, the question is, does our shelter that's going into Harrison Heights have an operation plan? They've already put in their permit maybe, or have they put in their permit? So they're gonna be bound to this set of standards
Right.
with, and minus an operation plan. They don't have one yet.
They will.
By the time they put a permit in,
Yeah, so it just says names, roles, and contact information for key staff, security policies.
I also don't, I'm sorry, I'm interjecting, but I guess it's kind of a free for all at this point. Y'all have heard me say this before. This isn't being designed for or against the shelter. This is
Right.
cleaning stuff up, it's bringing us up to date, right? It's just dotting the i's and crossing the t's and
I know.
And so I don't have any angst about it. It seems pretty,
Mhm.
you know,
Was
reasonable
it reasonable
and
and in line?
yeah, and for I don't have, I think it's all reasonable and I have every expectation that the partners are gonna meet reasonable requests. That's all I'm
And I
gonna
don't
say
need to
about
make this
that.
so much about one site.
Right.
But we
Right.
have to do a conditional use permit for a
Yeah.
temporary encampment. If that's allowed later with zoning
Yeah.
code change, if they want, they can have one conditional use permit that combines both of them. So I mean, we would look to make things streamlined for any applicant.
Mhm.
And that would apply in that specific instance. As many things that need to happen until we get to that. point.
Right, right.
All right, I'll trust the process.
So what's interesting here is when you look at the words, section, the triple I's, occupancy policies including resident responsibilities and a code of conduct that address at a minimum the use of sale of alcohol and illegal drugs, threatening or unsafe behavior and weapon possession.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but it doesn't prohibit that. It just says you need to have a policy that addresses that. Your policy, if I read this literally, could be, hey, you can have alcohol and illegal drugs, you can threaten or whatever. I mean, that's ludicrous, right? But it doesn't say you have to prohibit the use of alcohol and illegal drugs. You cannot have threatening or unsafe behavior. You cannot have weapons on site. Just need to have a policy.
And that is for the city council to discuss, but if you are interested in low barrier shelters where anyone may be welcome,
Right.
then having language that prohibits that.
Yeah, so then, so what I'm saying is for people that are, if you're a little tense about this, it's not saying what those policies, it's
But that the public should know, in the application process, what to expect from this.
understood. They need to have a policy and then the public can see what their policy is. So, but by putting this in here, we're not saying you can't have low barrier, no barrier, whatever. It's just that you have to have a policy that what council voted on.
Right.
Right? Okay. I think you have one more part of your PowerPoint, and then after that, we're gonna take a break.
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
Can I just add really quickly is that when we permitted Pendleton Place through the CEQA process, we did a lot of this kind of coordination to make sure that there was collaboration between the applicant and the police department given new housing services. So it's taking some of the lessons learned from permitting Pendleton Place into the public use. So it's our own learning experience that helped us inform.
So lastly, design standards. So this regulates the aesthetic appearance of multifamily commercial mixed-use buildings. Why are we here? We recently updated the downtown sub-area plan. That went through the public process, planning commission, city council, and now those changes, we're trying to make some of those citywide so that they are consistent. Like sub-area design standards, like were reviewed by development focus groups. So local developers, including the Kitsap Building Association, kind of helped us work through the downtown sub-area plan in each one of the development chapters. So this is kind of bringing to the Bremerton Municipal Code, BMC 20, what we've already worked on with the downtown sub-area plan. City Council, like I said, adopted these changes in June of 25 as part of the downtown sub-area plan. And just as like a small print friendly note here to let the City Council know that the Puget Sound Regional Council certified our comp plan and our sub-area plans in September. So we have made it through the last one of those hoops.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a long
Congratulations.
process.
Yeah.
You did it. I know.
Wow.
Yeah. So summaries of those changes, definition. So there's definitions in the downtown sub-area plan, and we're proposing that EMC Title 2042 become consistent with that. Additional mixed use. So this is not a downtown sub-area plan, but with the comprehensive plan update process, we now designate the general commercial zone as a mixed use zone. So now we're proposing a mixed use requirement on the ground floor. That's consistent with every other mixed use zone that we have. The general commercial zone was the one zone that didn't require that. So we're proposing to bring that the zoning code in conformance with that comp plan change. And measurement of transparency, the downtown sub-area plan, you have to provide a percentage of transparency from 2 feet above grade to 8 feet. In the Title 20, in many cases, it's from grade to 8 feet. So bringing it into consistency with the downtown sub-area plan change from 2 feet to 8 feet. And then also adding in some flexibility for transparency. So if you're going to be putting in an accessory structure that's maybe behind your building, it doesn't make sense necessarily to require the maximum amount of transparency for that building. If your building is behind another building on the right of way, it doesn't necessarily make sense to provide that storefront if you're not near the sidewalk, which is the whole idea, is that you provide transparency if you're next to the sidewalk. So this is proposing changes for flexibility and transparency when your building isn't close to the sidewalk. And those are the proposed changes. So happy to answer any questions you might have.
Can I do a quick clarifying question?
Sure, Anna.
So, these are considered downtown, except the second one is not downtown, it's everywhere.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
With the exception of the transparency flexibility.
No, just the second one.
Right.
Oh, the third one also applies to everywhere?
So the measurement of transparency is the same as downtown. We're proposing that to be all through the BMC. These
Okay.
flexibility that we're
Thank you.
talking about, that would be just in terms.
Thank you.
And then my clarification, that second bullet point, if you're in the general commercial zone, you just want to do a commercial building with no residential, you do not need to put residential in there.
Correct.
So remember, we had the situation where the hotel, no one, and so we allowed it to be residential. We had it as mixed use. So if you're doing a residential, I guess the bottom floor would have to be, mixed use would have to be a business.
Portion of the building facing at this time, 50%. Or if it doesn't make sense at that time to build out commercial, sometimes the market doesn't
Have the
support that.
capability to do it.
Correct.
This is the end of part 3?
And so both, sorry, so both part 3 and part 2 had unanimous recommendations from planning commission.
Part 2 was 6-1.
No, part 1.
So the neighborhood.
Yeah,
You're right, you're right, you're right.
Commercial was the only item that
You're
didn't
right.
have that unanimous.
Sorry.
But
Just for those two items,
Right.
they did support overall,
Yes.
just those two items.
I was gonna say, technically, the one planning commissioner voted down the whole package because he
Sure.
felt so passionately about the 9 p.m.
Hmm.
So just to be clear, there was one no vote on the whole package, but he made it verbally clear that he supported everything. But because of that thing, he was so passionate, he voted no.
Anna, did you have a question? Anna, did you have a comment?
I did. So these are great, and except that here in the summary of this agenda item, you talk about definitions, general commercial, district center core, high density residential. Are there changes proposed for there? Neighborhood business and institutional. So there are no, you're doing changes to them, but you're not, they're all consistent with this?
Right, so that measurement of transparency and that flexibility is added into each one of those zones that allows for those uses. So all those zones already have design standards. This would be tweaking those design standards to match up with this transparency issue.
Okay, council, please bear with me for 1.5 minutes. I would really like the neighborhood business zones, like the High-Low Hales former corner, to require public access. I think that it's something that is, and I know you're gonna give me the thing that says it's not actually required, but like on Callow Avenue, if you have a business, you have to like let people in. At 15th and, geez, I'll get my own name next, at 15th and Wyckoff, you do not, which is why there is a dead zone of a catering place, where Hales used to be. I think that requirement for public access should be added to that kind of zoning. All done. Came in under my 90 seconds.
Okay, was that addressed by the planning commission, what she just presented? So I believe it has to go to the planning commission first before we can vote on.
If directed by the council to do that. Right, is the council interested in us taking to the planning commission that in the neighborhood business zone, that's a homework item, bullpen. In the neighborhood business zone, that every business do allow public access.
No, I'm not interested in that. I think some businesses don't need to have public access.
So we
Or
had
it
an
could be an
example.
orders of the day issue where you talk about this in a future study session.
Yeah, that kind of opens it. I mean, I remember there was an email or something from someone on Callow about a business that,
Yeah.
and they couldn't open because of
Because they're a warehouse.
the requirement. I understand.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so, yeah. I don't mind the planning commission talking about it, but I don't want to hold this up. That's for sure. So you're saying a bullpen item.
That's correct.
Right, so wouldn't hold this up for next week.
Not by putting something in the bullpen.
So it
Okay,
is
so
up to the rest
bullpen.
of the council whether they planning commission to look at that.
Yes.
I think bullpen, yeah.
Yes,
We got bullpen on that.
Okay.
All right, and then you're gonna make the two changes for next week that we discussed earlier. Absolutely. All right, any other questions or comments, council, on this item?
Just,
Okay.
so all three of these can be bundled for next week or, okay.
Yeah.
So if there is feedback on the first one, but
We can amend on the fly, or we can, if
Okay.
there's a lot of feedback and we're unsure, we can bifurcate it. We can get
Bifurcate.
messy.
What was that word again? Bifurcate?
Bifurcate, it's a
Thank
legal
you.
term.
it can allow for severability.
I've heard it before.
All right.
We'll
Okay,
use it often now.
thank you, Mr. Jackson. It is 6:42. I suggest we return at 6:55. Oh, you know what? 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Garrett.
5 minutes to more in the mayor's lot.
Oh, yeah, there's
Oh, did we
Friday
lose?
coming
You're-
up.
Okay, folks, 7 o'clock, we're back in session. Next item up, I'd like to welcome Managing Engineer Bill Davis here to present item B6, which is the agreement to pre-purchase equipment for the East Side Treatment Plant UV replacement project. Mr. Davis, you've got the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, Bremerton City. So you know, there's a small treatment plant in East Bremerton. It's for treating line sewer overflow in East Bremerton. Whenever we have big storm events, sewage will back up in the system there. It'll treat it using ultraviolet light and discharge to the Port Washington Narrows. And it was installed back in 2000. It's 25 years old. It's reached the end of its useful life. So equipment and parts are becoming more and more difficult. It'll be obsolete one of these days. So it's in our capital plan to upgrade that treatment plant in 2026 with new lights, new ultraviolet lights, new motor control centers. So in order to do that, and we have a design engineer console right now who is designing the improvements for us, putting together the detailed design that we intend on bidding in February. But some key components that are going to be installed there, the ultraviolet lights and the motor control centers, have a really long lead time, about 6 months from the time that they're ordered to delivery. So we've been working with Ecology, because this is SRF funded, SRF loan funded. There's a lot of requirements and stipulations to pre-purchase this equipment, the lights and the MCCs. So our consultant did a preliminary analysis and recommended a product from Trojan Technologies, which is the same manufacturer that we have right now. So we're familiar with their products. They're a reputable international manufacturer of these lights, the ultraviolet lights. So this agreement is to pre-purchase those items, have them arrive around April. By that time, we'll have a contractor on board who will then install the ultraviolet lights, the equipment, the MCC, all the new control panels, and then help start it up and commission it. So that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Questions from the council?
This did go to Public Works, so I remember correctly. We talked about it and it seemed like a smart thing to do.
Anna?
The revolving fund, is that the 1.2% interest rate?
It is.
Mr. Davis, Mr. Davis, there's language in there from the Department of Ecology letter on the first page saying you're at your risk because you're purchasing the equipment before 100% design approval. Do you have any comment on that?
I don't. There's many loans that we have where we don't have the loan fully executed, and we proceed with the design, knowing that's typical language that they put in their loans, but we've never had an issue with getting that money reimbursed.
Okay. It's a CYA thing.
Yeah.
Sorry if that's politically
I
incorrect.
appreciate the catch.
Okay.
What does it even mean, Eric?
It means,
Cover your assumptions.
yeah.
Yeah. They don't. So yeah, they don't approve it until.
Okay. How do we want to treat this item?
Consent.
Thank you, Mr. Davis, and I apologize for making you stay so.
I learned a lot about planning tonight.
Mr. Barker, you're up next. Contract modification number 10 with Red Side Construction LLC for the Kitsap Lake Park renovation project.
All right, thank you, council. I don't have a presentation tonight. Last time I was here, we spoke about the project in general, and I did show you what the proposed modification was going to look like. This is for the trench drain that's going to be installed in the parking lot at Kitsap Lake. So this is a modification to the contract with Red Sides to keep them to continue to be on site and manage the project. They've gone out and received 2 separate bids that they're going to hire a subcontractor for. And the price that we have on here is the low bid, but is a company that they are familiar with. It's not the one that we had been working with, which is fine. So it's a new company that'll come in and work with us to get the project completed. Total cost for this change order It is a little over 151,000 and it still falls within our project budget. It is, honestly, it really is the original design that we would have wanted to go for, but at that time when the project was approved, we didn't have all the funding in place that we do have now. And so this is helping us get that ultimate result that we really wanted.
Okay.
I did go to PFIP at the end of last month.
I'm sure everyone remembers my briefing on this 2 weeks ago at the end of that study session,
100%.
verbatim.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote it down.
Had no concerns in budget. Sounds great.
Okay, so does anybody else from PFIP want to speak? Lovely afternoon.
It's, so this is like what you would call a French drain, right? It's just like a gravel.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the depth will be.
Yeah, it'll be a metal, and it'll have concrete. It'll be encased in concrete.
And the depth will be.
Oh, I can't.
Ish.
You'd have to ask me. I can't remember.
Okay.
It's 4 to 8 inches. Yep.
Okay.
But you did. I don't know if you saw in the paperwork, there were an option A and B. Option B gives us that ultimate result, and that's the one that I shared with you last time. Option A is not the full complete because we do have the funding to do it right.
Okay. And this is change order 10 on Kitsap Lake.
Yes, and I actually looked through change orders 1 through 9, and there are various pieces. Some are removal of some trees that were adjacent to the property owner next to us that was causing some issues with the retaining wall that they had. A lot of different things. One was a credit.
Well, this is
Lots of different
basically
things.
going to remove sediment and oil runoff.
It'll get everything in the right location that
Yeah.
it needs to go.
So it's cleaning up Kitsap Lake.
Good move.
Thank you.
How do you want to treat this item?
Consent?
Done.
Thank
Easy.
you, Mr. Barker.
Congratulations, Director.
Wasn't too draining.
Wasn't too draining. He's back, y'all. He's back. It just took 2 hours.
Next item,
Whoa.
find Charlotte here. Item B8 is to approve.
I can hear myself.
Hey, no worries. I think I have the floor, maybe.
Sorry, I was hearing your echoes.
Approve extension of appointment of Chance Barthum as provisional public works utilities director. With us here tonight is our human resources manager, Ms. Charlotte Nelson. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, council. So, Chance was provisionally appointed about 117 days ago. So we need to, in order to continue his appointment, we need to get permission from you guys.
Sure.
Consent.
Consent.
Well, to be responsible,
Yes.
what's the timeline of filling the public works director?
The city reposted this Sunday. So, and then we don't have dates set for the first review yet, but we are reopening it on Sunday. Also, so you know, Kitsap County did a recruitment and they're gonna share a list of their applicants.
Excellent. About that.
Reach out to them too.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Due diligence time.
So, thank you. So, send on that, and you also have item B9, which is the collective bargaining agreement between the city of Bremerton and the International Association of Firefighters Local 437.
So the union has already ratified, they voted for it. I did a summary of what I'm gonna go through with you. It's the parts that cost.
Oh.
Thank you. There's a lot here. Yeah, I'm 99.9% sure we've already talked about all of it, but I thought I'd go through it. So Article 5.1 is wages, and it is proposing that 6% for January 2025. 2026 was 2 to 4 based on CPI, and that CPI came back at 2.7.
Okay.
And then January 2027 would be a 2 to 4%. And then there's also on Article 5.1 wages, there's a one-time only, actually that should say 2025, not 2024, but a one-time 48-hour payment at their base wage rate.
The straight time, like,
Okay.
Straight rate, straight.
Oh, is it a typo?
Yeah.
Yeah, should be with a G.
Yep.
GA. Yeah, no
I
worries.
can put this together quick today.
Yeah.
And then Article 5.5 is pay differentials. And that is changing in the last contract, firefighter, paramedic at, after completing 10 years would go to a 6th step. This is proposing to change it to 5 years. And then Article 15.5.15 is increasing education incentive from 1% for an AA to 2% and 2% for a BA to 2% for an AA and 4% to a BA. Article 5.16 increases the number of employees to operate the ladder truck and rescue boat from 9 to 12. Article 5, you guys can stop meeting. Article 5.17, special assignment pay. This is a new one. It's a 0.5% for employees assigned to peer support team, rescue swimmer, or senior EMT instructor. And 6.2, effective January 1, 2026, the work schedule for shift employees will change to a 4 platoon schedule. Article 8.10, the next accrual of at the end of the year for non-shift and shift personnel is going up, and it's, I can read them all if you want. Or,
That's all right.
yeah, we're okay.
and in 2026, under Article 9.3, non-shift employees are going to receive 8 hours floating holiday. They're going to start getting 50, and that's due to the 4 platoon reduces the hours worked by shift employees. This kind of makes them even. Article 9.7, holiday compensation. This is just saying that this.
Can you just clarify the difference between shift and non-shift?
Shift is the guys that work 24 hours on, and non-shift is the guys that work days, 8 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'm skipping, okay. So this one, after this year article, so currently in the current project, we get 24 hours or employees current pay, and that after this year is going away.
Okay.
10.1.1, non-shift employees leave accrual is going to, when they're under 5 years, it's going to increase a little bit for sick leave accrual, just to get your pay kind of built up. We already do that for the shift employees.
So sick leave expires.
No, the 9.7 holiday compensation.
I'm sorry, I was on the next one. I beg your pardon.
Yeah, so it's not expiring, it's just increasing their accrual by a little bit for the first 5 years.
Wasn't there something about payout of sick leave at the end, 50%?
Right.
Yeah, 1 year's notice, then cash out. You did that.
Oh, but you what?
50% cash out.
50%.
Every year's notice. Except for anybody else, well, right now, I think we're sort of 120 days.
Okay.
And then everything, and then every further.
Okay.
So you can only accrue up to 52 hours per year of sick leave.
Yeah, well.
10.1.1.
it's split out, so they approve
Yeah, right, for the shift
for the
employees.
shift.
Yeah. And is there a cap for non-shift?
Accrual?
Yeah.
Yes. It's the same, it's just split into two banks. It used to be 96 for non-shift. It's gonna increase a little bit.
Is it okay? Chief was saying something kind of important about sick leave too. What were you saying about it? 2 pots?
They have 2 banks. They have collective bargaining bank and Washington State.
That's why this.
Yeah.
I gotcha. There's just different rules that apply.
Mm-hmm.
And the last
So
one,
Washington State, you can't cash that out. That's
yes, when they retire, we combine the banks.
they can cash out Washington State.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Washington State just has this different rule versus collective bargaining. Sick leave has to, because of the Washington State sick leave, like law, that thing has different rules to it. How it's usually required. Yeah.
Right, and what,
We're required to-
when we can ask for notes.
Okay.
There's stricter. And the last one is the MERP. We're increasing from a $55 contribution to 75. MERP is a medical expense reimbursement.
Yeah.
That's for when they retire too.
But on that one, Charlotte, they're leaving the floating line. Yes. They moved to floating line, make money in.
So it's not
Floating
costing us.
Oh, okay.
That was quick.
Okay, well, for those listening along, obviously, we've been involved in this process through them sessions for quite a while, so this is not really a surprise to us. Any questions or comments? No more? Consent?
Yeah, consent.
Yeah.
Okay, consent it is.
Congratulations.
Are you sure we don't want
Congratulations.
public comment on this? Just kidding.
People
Right.
don't laugh.
Thank you.
One more to
Well
go.
done, you.
Oh, yeah.
One more.
How much longer are you with us?
84 days.
Oh, but
You don't have it down you don't have it down to hours. Only 50 of those days are working.
Oh, my God.
Oh, but I'll.
We've got
34 days
with
her left.
50 days.
I would tell you there's an app for that, but it sounds like you already have
I
it.
do.
So, all right, item B10 is the request for salary adjustment for Lindsay Victor pursuant to Bremerton Municipal Code Section 2.50.032, parentheses 2. Here presenting tonight is our city clerk, Angela Hoover. Council, I'll turn it over to Ms. Hoover, but you also note we have an executive session right after this.
Yeah.
So Ms. Hoover and Attorney Fennell will describe what's before us on B10. When it comes to the actual discussion of performance, that's going to be done in executive session. So
It is off, Council one, to have that discussion, if you want it to be an executive session, you don't have to, there
Right.
isn't. You saw the packet, there's a lot of material for consideration on this, it was more if there was questions, there wanted to be discussion on that aspect of it. We went ahead and put the executive session on there so that could happen, because it's more appropriate in that setting, but it doesn't have to happen. We don't want to.
So just be cognizant of that in your questions, please. Okay, go ahead.
Well, good evening, Council. Tonight, I'm going to present to you a request for a salary adjustment for Lindsay Victor. This is pursuant to Bremerton Municipal Code, Section 2.50.32, subsection B2. Ms. Victor Ms. Victor is our public records and legal assistant one. Her primary role is processing and responding to public records requests submitted to the city of Bremerton. In the last 14 months, as her supervisor, Ms. Victor has, she's exceeded my expectations. She has shown initiative, reliability, and eagerness to support team development, which has been very significant in our The request before you is for an additional advancement. This is for her to receive an additional salary rate advancement for an increase of one additional rate in the same salary band. So this, I guess to put it in simpler terms, Ms. Victor's pay band would remain at a 4, but her rate would increase from a 2 to a 3. She automatically made a 2 when she made her 12 months here in the city. And so I'm requesting Mike's terms were double bump, which I had not heard of before. So this would be an approximate $2,000 annual salary and benefit increase. Like I said, she's invaluable at the city, with the city clerk's office. My goal as her supervisor is to retain her. She's high performing, high potential. She's a team player. As you may have read in the attached memo to the packet, to Mayor Wheeler, the city clerk's office has seen a considerable jump in volume and complexity of our public records request. Just to give you a little bit of background, and I know that I wrote this in that memo, but in 2023, the city clerk's office received 376 public records requests. That was just city public records requests. That's not including fire or police. In 2024, that increased to 483. As of today, we're at 377 for 2025. So I'm looking that we're probably going to be about the same as 2024, if not a little bit more.
If I could just pause right there. That's regulatory question, similar to ordinances. They're not all the same. So, volume only tells part of the story. It's also the complexity. So one request might have 15 different parts, or it might have a very simple request, like I'd like a copy of the agenda from last week's council meeting. So the number doesn't reflect complexity, which is another increase that we see that isn't reflected in those.
And then that was another aspect of my presentation tonight. What do we mean by volume and complexity? So here are some examples which Kylie had mentioned. We do have a high volume of records. Some of our requests have a large volume of just records that we have to filter through to read through to decide what is responsive and what isn't. We have redaction requirements. So we have RCW 4256, and there are several different redactions and exemptions, that we can associate with different types of public records. Vague or broad requests. I mean, we have a lot of those, and the search criteria that you're trying to put in you may retrieve records that you have to filter and which increases that processing time.
It's skilled. And we've done above and beyond to get the training and certifications that were required for this position when it was created, so that she can do it really well. And it's not just records production, it also is retention. And so part of the clerk's function is to maintain all of the records. And so digitizing older records so that they're easier to retrieve, more accessible to the public, working with teams and cities. And it's those kind of things that developing processes, developing training is really about, I think she starts to. So the process in the code, I know we haven't done this in a while, but President Younger wrote this code back in the day, and it involves us coming to the council to ask for the double step. It does require the mayor's approval, and the way that we did this is that Angela put it all in the memo that you see in your packet. The mayor approved it, and we put it on the council, so there's your double approval. So we're asking that this be put on consent and so that
Consent?
Consent. Well,
Go ahead, Denise.
this isn't about this specific request, but I think it's the second time I can remember getting like a request for a bump of an
it's
individual.
often like with new hires, if you want to go above grade 1. And we
Yeah,
have to put it in, we were talking about.
I think
and then-
recently it came from Mike with.
Right,
finance,
or
something.
like a recategorization.
Right. So I get all that. What I'm cognizant of is that sometimes council's asked to make question or make decisions. And I'm gonna assume that things are fair, equitable, that we're not just giving a bump to one person. How's that gonna impact everybody else? I'm gonna assume, I just felt like I needed to say it. I'm gonna assume that all those concerns are addressed right before it comes to us. That all that stuff, it's fair, it's equitable, it's, you know,
So one of the things with her is that she is in the management of professional,
Mhm.
and she's not a representative. There's differences in that regard. She's office. She is in an individual job. Part of it. So in this situation, we went to the first part of it. And
great job.
we didn't even notice, right?
Yeah.
And so, I'm just saying, she did a good job. I think, I understand.
I noticed.
We noticed.
That, there were some factors here that really, it is a
Sure.
Sure.
Okay,
Mike.
yeah, Mike, you're a smart man. Seal the deal. Consent?
Consent.
Consent it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, are we having good of the order tonight?
Sure, certainly. But, okay, so we are not going to have executive session, right? Council,
Bam.
correct? We're good?
Oh,
Bam. Correct.
Right? Now we'll go to, general council business, public safety committee briefing.
I better get that out. One thing I can start out with, I was sent the minutes, maybe I better not, because the last time I referred to the minutes in the public safety briefing, it went for half an hour. Transcript. We talked obviously about the issue that came before us earlier, but, the thing that I felt happened at the meeting that I think you all would be most interested in is, you know, that we're interested in, oh my gosh, skyrocketing jail prices, the cost of incarceration. And so, Tyler's department, put on Gary that put on a great presentation of pre-trial, you know, like diversion, non-jail alternatives and how often they happen. And you know what John made me? He made me an infographic.
Is it good?
So it shows where everything goes and how cases are disposed and all that kind of stuff. And I thought it was so informative that I am recommending that council receive that education and the infographic. Yeah, now we know John King has those skills. Am I forgetting something, Kylie, from that, or chief, about the public safety meeting?
Additional response.
Yes,
Will be in-
update on that.
Monday. We'll be on 24/7, which
Yeah.
so that should be inserted. We're still trying to get the logistics for the people who are in fleet. We had to clear out one of our staff to make the additional bedroom.
And this is when it was planned to roll out, I
Yeah,
think.
well,
Yeah.
so when the public approved the EMS levy, they approved 5 additional FTEs, and it has taken a while to get those FTEs up and running. We're still short 2, but we're gonna go with it. We have all the job offers out there. We're just waiting for the last of their evaluations to come through from the doctor. So they should be starting within the next couple of weeks, and they are lateral entry higher, so they should be up and running quicker. So yeah, that'll be pretty exciting. So that unit's gonna run out of downtown right now. So at your downtown station, you'll have at least 1 paramedic. At times, we'll have 2 paramedic units, ladder truck in the back. So
we have to talk about the incentive process. And,
Yeah,
so just so that the group knows kind of what public safety, decided was that, scoot up so here, that if there are public safety items that the council wants, the public safety committee to look at, that those will come through at like a study session or from a council meeting, for that committee to look at, so that we know that there's a consensus of council that wants to look at a certain issue, and then it'll go to the chair to decide where it falls on the agenda, so that it can be balanced with, like other presentations, or whether the right people are available to present the information. And then there will also be, like, if one of the departments like fire, police, or legal are bringing something to a study session, they can work with the chair to put that on a committee agenda at a time that works too. So that those would be the two kind of main flows of agenda items.
So this is kind of down to me because I've been proposing agenda items to Michael and Denise and John. And I guess that started to sound like I was insistent on them, and I'm just really like going, here's some things. In fact, I ended the email with like, for your consideration. The main thing that I've been working on is one of our goals and priorities, which if it's on our goals and priorities, I don't fully understand why we need to go back to the whole council for it.
It might just be the specifics of like that,
data, we need data in order to do, like, that's one of our transportation goals.
Right, but then maybe that makes more sense to be in a public works subcommittee.
Well, the Public Works Committee does not have information on collisions.
Right.
The police do.
Right. Again, I think it makes sense for the whole council to have the discussion, because it might be something that the whole council wants to have a study session on, rather than it just coming to a committee. It could be that there's enough overlap between transportation and public safety that it makes sense to come to a study session. So the committees aren't necessarily, I think that the idea was that then that particular approach that might be in like your inquiry might not be the same approach that the rest of the council, like if the police say, well, we would need additional funding to have a database that would provide that information, and then it becomes a finance question, or if it's maybe if it's an interplay between how that is used with the engineers and traffic and things, it might make sense to have them present as well.
this intersection between public safety and public works has come up again and again and again. And I know it because I sit on both committees,
Right.
so there are issues that come up at both. And I think we have been struggling with how best to get through that kind of a discussion. And I think that Anna's point, is well taken. She's wondering what I think each committee should be responsible for its goals, right? So, but I'm a stickler for process, and so I like the idea of it coming through here or some vestige of this, and then we decide whether this is something we want to send to Public Works or to Public Safety or to both committees to iron out. What I don't want to have happen is that it's always something from Anna that comes in, right? I want to give it more process. And I continue to disagree with directors who try to say that it's only for department. It's not. And we've been very clear with that with our committee descriptions. Obviously, it is for department heads and it's for the council to bring, but it's not for council members. It's not for individual council members to bring something. So by trying to figure this out, how this can flow.
Right, and it puts John in a little bit of a tough position, because he certainly can't direct police staff where to be. It's not in, and it puts, if they maybe were like, who is the right person to be there, and the agenda's going out, a couple of days ahead of time. I just think it would make a much better process for everyone involved if there's more, lead-in time, and that it's also, it comes from the committee, or it comes from the council as to what the committee's gonna be.
So during like the public safety briefing to council, that would be the appropriate time to bring up agenda items. And to ask if the majority of council is interested in having public safety look at that. So that's the mechanism.
Now, I
we use.
will say, yeah, I would think, or anytime that we're together, whether it's a study session, doesn't need to be during a public safety report, you know, it could
There's-
just,
The thing is, Denise.
the same thing has been brought up in both committees over and over and over again. We do not have the money to spend on the type of software that we used to have. And so we keep getting that answer, and I think some people are frustrated that the question keeps getting asked. And so, and I think that's very definitely happening from staff. But even Michael is the one as chair who finally talked about how the meeting will be run in this last meeting, and decided that items should come through the council or the committee.
Right? Okay, I'd like to propose 2 items. Okay, one is, I agree that this item has come up over and over, and it's because there keeps not being an answer. So I talked to Chiara Root at the Kitsap County Fair, and she had a price for what it would cost us to get reliable software that would enable us to get the data that we've been asking for at least 2 years, if not 3, on where traffic calming is needed, where the most collisions are, where the most speeding is, et cetera. What I asked for was for her to come to some future meeting and give public safety an idea of here's how much it would cost. Because there's other political considerations involved that council actually could help with, according to her. So that's something that I would like to bring to public safety. And then the second and final is we have the cartograph and the GIS system that is showing us customer response. And I thought that a brief presentation on that, either to public safety or to the whole council, would be of use so that we could see where things are happening on a map. That's it. That's the pitches that I have made, because we need data. Complaint-driven decisions are not equitable, because you have to have been here long enough to know how to complain. You have to have a certain stability going on. Like if you're just a young person, you know, on a 2-year tour, you still deserve a decent quality of life, and you know, to be able to let your kids walk to the bus stop. And so I that's why I'm really strong for data. Okay, hold on.
Money.
So in response, I believe the chief CC'd me on a response.
Yeah.
I thought he gave you a response on that, on your first request.
On having Chiara.
So first of all, so I think we know now, a request should go to department heads, not just an employee that you met at the fair. You gotta respect the department heads.
Nope,
And-
that's much more respectful.
Yeah.
Thank
So, but I believe, and I don't recall, it's just an email, but the chief answered your first question. I believe. So I don't know, I don't think the council should say, chief, once you answer it again. So, the second one, as far as you want a demonstration of GIS or whatever, maybe that's a request. I think the entire council,
Yeah, we'd love that.
at some point.
Not us.
No,
Not us employees.
no, it's IT.
Yeah.
That runs
Or-
GIS.
Yeah.
Or public works.
That
we're talking
does
about
the
Cartograph is.
the heat, the heat maps.
The heat maps are gone.
Heat maps are gone?
Yes, that's why
That's
I
what
keep
she's been
bringing this up.
warning. This is what she's been warning for.
They went away in 2023, and we now have
They were great.
no idea of where things are happening.
Well, so how are you gonna have a presentation on something that doesn't exist?
That's the presentation that I wanted from Chiara Root, which was to, I believe the figure she gave me was 30 grand, but I could be way off.
Yeah.
But just to know what that figure is, the same way that we're working with a $300,000 figure to get proper, 3 more operations people in parks, it would just be,
Sure.
we know, that's all.
Chief, do you no longer use GIS to figure out where your trouble spots are and all that stuff? You just look at tables? Okay. I mean, you just respond to the calls, right?
They call, we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's simple. I mean, I can pull data through our reporting system. It's not on a map, but I mean,
Yeah.
I can tell you last year we ran 900 calls in a 5-block area down here, you know, or right around Salvation Army. And that's what I look at.
Yeah.
But police are totally different on what they're looking at. And I think Public Works gets most of their traffic accident data from the state.
From
Because
WashDOT, yeah.
WashDOT is
All
not
right.
gonna have all that.
So I'm
Except
hearing,
it's almost entirely on the state routes. It's not in the residential.
so what I'm hearing is we no longer have that service internally. We're not using it.
Right, and here's what it would cost to get an update, to get something similar back.
Okay.
That's
Was
my
that not
request.
answered by the chief? The chief, merely said that decisions were made about what type of software to go with, and it was made. And I do feel uncomfortable pushing him on that.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, I really do. And I totally understand the desire to get, you know, Anna wants to protect people on the streets, and
We all do.
yeah, I honor that. It's just, I think the,
Thank you.
yeah, the way of doing it.
Is it fair to say, hey, we'd love to see administration were able to present comprehensive statistics and data across departments? I mean, right, but that is on administration to provide or not provide at their discretion.
Does that conclude your report?
That concludes my report, and I didn't even have minutes.
That was great.
Done good.
Well,
So council, I have consensus from the council for item 2, the cartograph/GIS presentation.
Not to put on a agenda.
No, for the
Yeah.
council study session down the future. In the future.
That's up to.
Well, I'm hearing we don't use it.
What?
We're not using it for what you're asking for.
It's just a tool that I think would be useful for council. And the cartograph, I think, is truly amazing. Are you familiar with it?
A long time ago.
Maybe after the first of the year when new council.
Yeah, when Eric's not here.
Down the line.
After Eric's retirement
The thing
party.
about cartograph that I had an hour plus presentation with Marley Schwartz, and it was really amazing that you could just go, I want to put in a 4-way stop sign at this uncontrolled intersection, let's just say. And it would be, here's what it is, it gave you the cost for the investigative study, the materials, the installation, the typical maintenance, and it was just bit. It was all there down to like the last loaded labor rate. And we can't use that, but it's to know that it's a tool that can be used. We don't have background checks, I think.
So how about this? We have Ann here and she'll put it in her notes. You know, DCD has a bullpen, council can have a bullpen.
I've already talked to Marley about
Okay.
this and maybe doing presentation at the retreat for
Oh,
everyone, because
yeah.
there are reports that she could, if there was an interest, we could set up and the parameters of what she could do within her scope and what might be helpful for you. And then we could set that up on a routine basis to give you
There you go.
reporting
And
on things that.
If there's a renewal period for the current software, that'll be up, and
Oh,
that
that's
point
good.
to make a decision point of which one to go with based on price and features. If
I'm
that,
sorry.
sorry, if there's an upcoming date of the current software contract up, I don't know. Yeah, if there's a decision point in the future to then can choose between multiple options. Compare price and features, yeah.
Amazing. I met her and then they brought in the
Amazing. Yeah, and she was explaining both of those things. I'm just gonna suggest that everybody always says, let's put it in the retreat.
Yeah,
Let's do it before the
Yeah.
retreat.
3 months of retreat, yeah.
Yeah, since we don't have 3 months. Although, if the council budget could stretch to Aruba.
Okay, so, Anne's got it in her notes. Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. Jennifer.
Hi. I'm gonna pass this around. We're on track, y'all. Hey, so you got an email with all the dates on it? Thank you, thank you. It's not all me. We have Christine, even though she was out for a bit, she still was on track with, keeping us on track with this. We had a really good meeting. You know how I am with meetings. I just kept that meeting going. We had a 1-hour meeting, very efficient meeting. We penciled out some with an erasable pen, to be honest. But we have made a couple dates there for LTAC interviews, and on track to get this approved by the end of the year. I know that it's not, you don't have to pass your budget with the LTAC recommendations, but it is nice to have it in conjunction. So just briefly, I'll just kind of let you know what we talked about what's going well and what could be improved. Most of the feedback from the committee members is that they work well together, they gelled together, that the communication was well, they compromised well. That was really important to hear everybody's voices. Some recommendations for improvement are maybe a longer time to process the applications, shorter, like the deadline should be moved a little bit. Here's something that came up, and I just want transparency came up. So I think three folks kind of echoed that there was a concern about clarity on the budget situation, what the actual budget is, with the additional funding that was allotted towards Quincy Square. There was a little bit of, what's going on here? Kind of went along with that, a little bit of distrust with that process. I talked about what are your priorities. I asked the committee members, what are going to be your priorities this year for, like, as we don't have the applications yet, but what are you thinking about? And I don't know, is this okay with you here? I think, are you okay to, I guess, yeah, it's just overarching stuff. Okay, cool. They want to know, they're going to be real focused on what's going to bring in revenue, big events. And Christine even mentioned a little later, she has it specified in the application, Bremerton events in city limits. Okay. And for smaller events, they're going to be looking at, can the group get funds elsewhere? Is it something that's small that can grow big, but are they actually bringing, heads and beds? I really liked one committee member who said I want them to demonstrate the ROI, the return on investment. And then there was also a brief discussion about operations versus marketing, because some of the RCW allows for operations, FTE, staff funding, et cetera. And then Love Kitsap, who is, beautiful, actually, a collaboration of a bunch of our local groups. But they have a resource, a checklist, that they're going to share with us, that actually is a checklist for folks who are applying for LTAC funds, because they've been to lots of LTAC meetings and all kinds of bureaucracies. So we're going to get that and share that. Other than that, and then what's going to be of local benefit? What's going to benefit locally the most, in addition to heads and beds? So our next meeting is October 21st. And if we need to, October 22nd, but we'll probably get it done on October 21st. And then November 12th, November 18th, we have scheduled for interviews, follow-ups, continued deliberations. We're hoping to have recommendations to you no later than December 10th. So any questions? Yes, sir.
Had an applicant tell me, wow, the city's not doing interviews this year. And I said, oh, let me ask about that. And I realized why now. On the RFP, the interviews aren't listed in the schedule, so they're on the website, not on here. And I think they were looking at here, so.
Well, we just decided it today.
Okay.
So which document needs to be updated?
The RFP that went out looks like September 26th.
The RFP for what?
For
Logical
the,
tax application.
Logical tax.
Oh, gosh, oh, got you.
Mhm.
Okay, so we can, well, is it a PDF or is it a link?
PDF.
Well,
I
it's not
think-
gonna be on that form then.
yeah, and
It'd
they've
just be
been
good to make
already.
it
They're
submitted.
they're gonna get further communicate. We
Yeah.
are,
Yeah, so to make it clear, folks, but that's.
we'll get further
yeah.
communication. Thank you for that. We didn't
Yeah.
have that, set up beforehand, I don't believe.
Or why,
so.
yeah, so that's why they want this. There's no interview scheduled?
Well, yeah, I don't think that interviews are traditionally set up before the RFP goes out. So, the dates that is.
Okay, yes, it's good to clarify. And then.
Yeah.
A little concern, I want to be clear, right, for LTAC, it is council that sets the priorities.
Yes.
Well, I
The
feel-
priorities and the evaluation, criteria. The committee absolutely brings absolutely good feedback, but I have
Sure.
heartburn over, I feel like I'm hearing, we've already put out the RFP as a city, and I'm hearing that the criteria and the prioritization are now changing on the fly compared to what we previously established. With the RFP going out, and that gives me real legal concern.
Is
So,
there anything that I said that you have, an issue with?
how they were prioritizing projects, how, what they were looking for in applications versus we've already set out criteria for applications, in writing.
How is it different? Tell me how it's different than the criteria that we've set up.
Well, that they're setting it, that
Right, if they're
priorities are
changing on
gonna
the
be
fly.
for,
No, it's not that they're setting
They're
priorities.
saying, I think I heard they wanted to prioritize events. And so if
Big
that's
events.
not made clear in what's already been set out in writing,
I don't think that anything they said is in,
okay, wanted to
I
clarify
think it's in
that.
tangent to the priorities of the council.
it's always that,
Mhm.
though, that relationship that we've really got to build, and you've been building. And I think that, I did when I heard Love Kitsap and they've got this checklist of all, they've been working with all these. No, we've already done the research. We have, things that have already gone through committee.
This is a checklist for applicants to make sure that they
Mhm.
are complying with the law. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear on that. So it was, because sometimes there's applicants that aren't clear on, operations and how, much funding can go towards operations, but by RCW, there's a certain amount that can be, right? So in the end,
No,
Justified.
It's
Anything
operations and salaries
that
are
needs to
allowed.
go through legal. It just.
it
needs to go
will, and
through
that was
legal.
mentioned during,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
that's
no.
exactly what I said, is once it gets legal
We'll go
vetting.
to pilot.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah,
So, nothing that I heard from them is in, conflict with our focus, right? So this is part of getting them focused on the same things that we are.
okay, so they have a copy of the resolution.
They've
Yeah,
got
so
so
they're-
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason is last year on the county LTAC process, that committee, did not follow the recommendations, I would say, set by the commissioners. They went a bit rogue, in my opinion. And kind of made up criteria on the fly, and that resulted in a bunch of issues. So I wanted to make sure that, but that doesn't happen to us.
Yeah, we have a pretty great team. So.
There's scoring sheets, there's,
There's scoring
Yeah,
sheets
so
that
as long
are,
as
and
those-
Anne's working on it, on the
sheets are in
scoring
alignment
sheet
with the
that's
current
going to be
processes, Right,
combined with Christine's.
right, because.
We've got good staff
I
behind
don't
us.
wanna,
so.
I don't
Once
want to
again,
hear,
Anne's listening to your
Yeah.
concerns and she's taking notes, and I think she'll address it,
perfect.
through Jennifer. just
Right, if the
make
the
sure
committee
it's all
comes
good.
back and says, all we wanted to fund this year was this type of event. But that's not in line with the council priorities.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's what they were heading
Okay,
towards.
just
I
wanna
think
make
that they
sure.
were trying to be thoughtful.
We gotta give them a
Yeah.
little fun too,
Yeah,
to
yep,
talk,
want their-
brainstorm and build that committee and
Yeah.
relationships. And do we have them for another year too? I hope?
Yes, yes, they're gonna be with us through this entire process. To my knowledge.
Good.
I guess I should probably look at their terms and when they're up.
And operations and salaries are allowed.
Yeah.
I want to be clear, because again, I always get concerned when people on the fly say, oh, I don't know about that, and I don't know if I want to
Well,
fund that.
Mike
That's-
Huey
yeah.
brought that up. He brought that up that they are allowed,
Yes, yeah.
that operations
It's
is
just
allowed.
If
Right.
it brings,
But I think the
ROI.
discussion, the
Absolutely.
discussion was
That is-
about transparency. I think that, And on our end, I think that, we learned a lot about the LTAC process last year because we somehow magically found money for a project within the city. I think that did break a little bit of trust with our community members and they felt a little about it.
We waited too long. That proposal should have gone anyway.
And that one of the discussion pieces regarding operations was that sometimes that people don't have that fully written out in their plan, that some of the operations are being paid for by their LTAC funds, but it's not demonstrated in their application, and that he wanted to see how that was being done.
So that example is the RFP and the application clear to have that as a requirement? I think so. I'm just
Say what
right.
is a requirement?
That if the committee members are looking for something specific, that is included in the application.
I think that was just one committee member who brought it up to remind us that it is allowable. Yeah. Any other questions?
Being extra sensitive.
Okay. Yeah, I know. And being that you're an applicant yourself, I'm sure you want to know more about the process. So
I have this saying, I used to say it a lot.
Oh,
I don't
apology.
say it
Wait.
too much,
Sorry.
but it's called hoofs up. That means the horse is dead. And
the horse is dead.
like this.
I think my concerns are valid, and I'm just looking due diligence for the city.
Okay, hoofs up.
Creating the issues.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other regional or committee board briefings. Sure.
Always fun to hear about.
Well, one thing was the Week Without Driving, which was held at OC and is discussing what would run about 15K a month, 14 to 18K, but 15K seemed to be the sweet spot to give free Orca passes to all OC students who wanted them. They did a pilot project on this in October 23 or 22, one of the weird post-COVID years, and it was a tremendous success. So Joan Hatton is talking with Kitsap Transit, and I'm hoping that we can actually make this happen, because here we'd have a whole new generation of people riding buses. And I just got to give a shout out to Clarence Marawaki, who got from Bainbridge to OC by taking the ferry to Seattle, and then taking the fast ferry to Bremerton, and then took the bus up to OC.
That's great.
I walked.
It'd be a lot easier if we had a Bremerton ferry to Bainbridge.
It would enable the workforce to get
What?
there. As
So we're applauding someone to
From
get the
Bainbridge.
OC to Bainbridge. He was just demonstrating that he can.
Yeah.
drive public, obviously.
He's that kind of a guy.
Or else
You
he's
can do it
not,
by
wasn't a
bus.
math major, because the shortest distance between two points on the street. Go ahead.
the
Mr. Mariaki, I meant no offense. I was just trying to,
yeah.
He's in his own council meeting right now.
just trying to have a little humor here.
Love
Go
you,
ahead.
Clarence.
I like the guy. He's a good guy.
At the actual council meeting itself, at the actual Kitsap Transit Board meeting itself, the only thing, two things of importance were their lobbyists gave us either the second or the third update on the legislative session this year, which was really useful. And if anyone wants to read it, I recommend you go to the Kitsap Transit website. It's a lot of how revenue and expenses have majorly changed, but it's a lot of detail that I'm not going to hit you with at 8 o'clock at night. The other thing is that they have a totally fancy new system that they're going to put in all the buses that will determine who is getting on, and it's so fancy that it can tell if you're holding a baby or a bag of groceries. So the budget for that is 7.769 million. And we just had a change order of 94,000, of almost 95,000 extra dollars.
There's more to this software than what you just described. We're spending $7.7 million to determine if someone's carrying a baby or.
It determines if they're using a senior Orca card or a disabled Orca card or a low income Orca card. It's, to me personally.
It's tracking, it's data.
It's tracking, it's data, but to me personally, the clicker system would be a better use of funds, but that ship sailed.
Yeah.
This is to the company that is overseeing the actual software company that is getting this increase.
I do finally remember when I used to ride the ferry, the clicker people. So you have a horde of people that open the gates and they're going like this. Yeah, real accurate, real accurate.
Well,
I
How
know.
many years did we rely on?
right now what we have is nothing. We have the Orca card, but if you're not using an Orca card, we got nothing. And meanwhile, we are buying buses and planning routes based on ridership,
But you don't know how.
data we have not had since I've been on Kids Up Transit in early 22.
Okay.
So that's it.
So, okay. Any other meetings or anything, for the good of your?
Did you,
I got good at the order. After
do you
you.
go to Kids Up? Okay, I missed it as well. Sorry. And then the KRCC, I won't be able to attend the retreat.
Okay.
It's on Friday.
All right.
Will you be attending?
I may not be able to as well.
Okay.
We'll see.
Are you going to?
I'm gonna, I'm leaving for Las Vegas tomorrow.
Gosh. Okay. All right. Well, let's you and I link up and we'll figure out if we can make it maybe by Zoom or something so we can figure it out.
Good for the order?
Okay, the first one is really quick housekeeping. You'll remember that when Mike Riley presented the mid-year catch-up on the budget without any of the, what did you call them, councilmatic, like what things that we could do? But he presented it, and I requested, and I believe that council agreed, just really simple formatting changes, since we have so little time to review it. It's Microsoft Word can automatically generate a table of contents, and I believe Excel can as well. And then just like lines or different colors for those huge tables. And Mike agreed to it, but I don't know if it made it into the minutes or if we need to do a resolution in order to request that. Over to you.
Oh, we don't need a resolution. No.
Okay, it's just gonna happen?
We're not doing a resolution to say how, I'm not gonna paraphrase it, no. You want me to get an affirmation from Mike? Or actually, finance committee can get that affirmation.
Would you guys mind doing that?
Can you just tell me if this is the table of contents for
The budget?
just for the budget as a whole?
Yeah,
Hyperlinked.
The budget,
yeah,
the budget of a hyperlink table of contents.
yeah.
I think that, and I think it was really hard to see the page number. There weren't page numbers. Why weren't there page
There were no
numbers?
page numbers or table of contents, so it's,
Hyperlinked would be wonderful. At the
Yeah.
very least, if we're not gonna have page numbers, but page numbers would be just a common sense bonus.
and that's another thing that Microsoft Word and Excel
Automatically
can
does.
automatically.
There will not, there may not be a PFAB meeting and there definitely won't be one before they release. the
Well,
draft
you
budget.
can communicate maybe?
Do you want me to send an
Can
email?
you reach out to him, Eric, or Jeff, or both of you?
I'll let Jeff do it.
Okay, I'll send an email.
Right, and second and final good of the order is, after my weeks of trial by social media, I just would like to bring up to this whole council that when you're trying really hard to get stuff done, that you're gonna make mistakes. And everybody who is trying hard to get stuff done is gonna make mistakes. And it would be helpful, I think, quoting Ben Franklin here, if we do not hang together, we shall assuredly hang separately. For all of the members of this council to think about other like work that our fellow councilors have done or have attempted to do instead of just focusing on errors, dumb ideas in my case. So that was really it. I'm just making this appeal and then I'm gonna shut up and perhaps if anybody else is watching Survivor, I'm not. If anybody wants to go see it, it's.
That why Jane's not here. She needs.
No.
I know.
So just saying that.
So again, that Survivor thing, I don't know who that household's gonna be, but that was a joke. I know it's completely different.
Is that a Survivor?
Big Brother watching?
They have had all the.
That's a different show. I'm
It's a
just showing
different
that I'm
show, yeah.
obtuse and not in touch with.
I'm so obtuse
like-
that I didn't know
Is it
this.
Rose?
And that's right.
Rose in that one, right?
Not Rose, yeah, right. That's a
I
different
just
one.
know
as
about
well.
these shows from commercials,
Yeah, yeah,
honestly.
okay, so for the good of the order, just want you guys to let you know, we're working on the public recognition thing, and it's working. So the proposal, we've got detailed response from the city of Bellevue and the city of Bellingham. Bellingham went through, in my opinion, exactly what we went through last fall. And so the plan is that Attorney Fennell and Vice President Revelowski and I are going to meet and go over all these methods and the verbiage and everything that they're using, and then we'll have a study session to talk about that. Right now, tentatively, we have it on the 12th of November to give all the options for the council to consider for reopening public recognition. That's where we're at. Okay. Yes.
Have any of these cities considered turning the cameras off?
Yes, city of Bellingham. So here's what's interesting. I don't want to explain all this stuff, but what they did is they moved public recognition to the end of the council meeting. They basically shut the live feed off from the cameras and then read the rules of decorum, and then people did their public recognition. They got to say what they wanted to say to council, but wasn't done BCAT, and I don't believe it was online.
Well, I just want to credit Denise with first bringing this up.
So that is an option to do. City of Bellevue has an interesting one where they open before the council meeting. They open 30 minutes public recognition. Priority is 1, 2 things that are on the agenda. So that's a little different because we do the agenda items and then ask for public recognition. And then 2, they say, okay, everyone that's done with that. And it's interesting, and I think it takes a little more digging in. I may be saying it wrong, but they give preference to people that haven't spoken for a long time. But only 30 minutes, and then when you're 30 minutes, the whole time period's up, 3 minutes apiece. Then it's onto the council meeting. I don't know how that flies, and we'll have to. So we got to sort. This isn't a simple thing of, oh, here's how they do it.
Right.
We got to sort and figure out what works best for the city, and not just take a verbatim that whatever city uses is actually meets all the requirements for the OPMA. So we're going to go sort through all this and then come up with some proposals for you guys.
Because I think this council is really committed to public recognition, to First Amendment rights.
Oh, absolutely. And I recognize that I probably should have started the meetings and kind of said council rules and procedures. And by the way, this is how you're expected to act and all that stuff. But at the same time, I don't believe that once people start doing public recognition, I can interfere with them and say, oh, by the way, that wasn't appropriate.
Right.
You cannot do that.
Right.
And so would everybody follow those rules? I don't know. I have my own personal opinion of whether, but whatever. So we'll sort all this out. Go ahead, Sean.
Snohomish, Washington came up with an example from what I heard too. Maybe just a quick look.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but it sounded like one worth looking at.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for working on it and hoping to bring it back.
Yes.
Bring it back ASAP.
And you've been like encouraging people to use the other channels.
Yeah. So we'll,
Yeah.
I believe we'll have the
That's
same
important.
handout, and we'll have card stock.
Yeah.
I believe we'll have card stock in a box, so you can have a place to put the cards instead of just like, okay. So some reminders, go to the order. KRCC legislative reception is Thursday, November 13th. RSVPs though are due by October 20th. So and know if you plan on attending. Okay, so that's the KRCC legislative reception. Anna's got a town hall, October 13th at 5 o'clock. Oyster Bay facility. And then Jane's got one October 16th, the Bremerton Supply.
Jeff, I just want to make sure you RSVP'd for the,
Legislative reception, I believe I did.
we're gonna need you there.
Oh, that's right.
You never know.
No more, no one
Oh,
choked.
that's
issue,
right.
please.
Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah.
I just was
Test me
looking, I
again.
was staring like, what's going on?
Maybe they should just have a liquid diet and that takes
That would
care
be
of it.
good.
That would be a drinking
Depends.
establishment.
I don't know if I can go along with what that
Smoothies
idea.
for all.
That's right.
Okay, last thing, remember, council reports or slides are due on noons on Tuesday. I think everybody knows that by now. Okay, reminder that next council meeting will be Wednesday, October 15th, starting at 5:30 p.m. in the first quarter meeting chambers in Norm Dix Government Center. Public is invited to attend in person or remotely. This meeting is adjourned.